Chapter 1786. The last thing Wu Zhenju wanted to hear was Guo Zaixia's words. He replied unhappily, Yuer's marriage is only known to the people in her own village. How would they know if she went to another village or town to find a husband? Guo Zaixia snorted and exposed Wu Zhenju without giving him any face. Second sister-in-law, don't tell me you're treating people as fools. If a rich family wants to marry you, shouldn't they ask around first? How can they just casually marry someone? Liang Jinfen agreed, that's right, eldest sister-in-law is right. Rich people are all shrewd. Marriage is not something that can be casually decided. Guo Zaixia continued, second sister-in-law, to put it bluntly, it's hard for a woman whose marriage has been annulled to find a good family. If the woman's background is average, she probably won't be able to get married for the rest of her life. Yuer's looks are not bad. She might be able to find a good family and marry an honest man. If you want to find a rich family, I think you should forget about it. How can Yuer get such a good thing? Liang Jinfen also chuckled and said, how can there be so many rich families? I think second sister-in-law is just daydreaming. If we're talking about marrying into a good family, my little brother's chances are higher. After all, my little brother's looks are not bad. He's not inferior to Yuer's. If he dresses up well, he might be able to catch the eye of a rich family. Guo Zaixia also chimed in, I think my little Zier's not bad either. She looks very good in Yuner's dress. In this day and age, clothes make the man, and Buddha makes the man. If he dresses up well, he won't look bad. When Wu Zhenju heard this, he was so angry that smoke almost came out of his nostrils. These 2b*****s actually dared to say that his Yuer wouldn't be able to find a rich family. Since he could find it once, he could find it a second time. She didn't believe that Xuan wouldn't be able to find a good husband with her daughter's good looks. Sister-in-law, Zi-er is getting on in years. If she could find him, she would have found him long ago. Why would she wait until now? It's not easy for a girl of her age to find a husband. In my opinion, it would be good if she could find an ordinary husband. After Wu Zhenju finished scolding Guo Zaixia, he turned to Liang Jinfen and said to Liang Jinfen, and second sister, if I remember correctly, your family can only give birth to daughters. You see, she only gave birth to 2 daughters in her entire life. She didn't even give birth to a son. I heard that you married the eldest daughter in town and gave birth to a daughter. Now, you're not liked by your in-laws. Who knows when your in-laws will divorce you? Your second daughter and first daughter are probably the same as you. They can only give birth to daughters and not sons. This was called heredity. Tell me, which rich man would be willing to marry a woman who can't even give birth to a son? So second sister, you should stop dreaming. Although my little brother's daughter is beautiful, it's useless if she can't give birth to a son. Being unable to give birth to a son in the countryside was indeed a matter of ridicule and disdain in the world. Liang Jinfen had been mocked and ridiculed by many people in her lifetime because she couldn't give birth to a son. Initially, she had been counting on Su Zhaodi. Who knew that Su Zhaodi would also give birth to a good-for-nothing? Chapter 1787. Seeing Su Zhaodi's pale and weak face, as a mother, she naturally felt distressed. Even if she felt distressed, there was nothing she could do. Who told Su Zhaodi to give birth to a money-losing child? If she could give birth to a son, the Huang family's attitude would naturally not be like this. And even if she felt distressed for Su Zhaodi, she could not bring her daughter back. A married daughter was like spilled water. How could she casually return to her maternal home? Her son was still in the Su family and the family's money was in the hands of her parents-in-law. If she wanted to bring her daughter back, her parents-in-law would have to agree. Obviously, with old Madame Su's father's temperament, they would definitely not agree to let Su Zhaodi come back. The Su family relied on their reputation. If the villagers knew that Su Zhaodi came back to her maternal home because she was not liked by her husband's family, they would probably gossip and ridicule her behind her back. Su Zhaodi also cried and complained to her that her husband's family had said that if she did not give birth to a son in the next child, her husband would divorce her and marry another woman. Since she could not give birth to a son, there would always be a woman who could help the Huang family. Thinking of this, Su Xiaodi somewhat collapsed. She was really worried that if she could not give birth to a son in the next child, she would really be divorced by the imperial family. When that time came, she did not know how many people would laugh at her. After all, when she got married, she was very proud. If she was shamed, she would only be laughed at even more miserably. There was a saying that the higher you stand, the more painful it is to fall. Su Xiaodi felt that she could not bear the consequences of being divorced. Perhaps she would take it too hard and commit suicide. Liang Jinfen was very distressed when he heard this. He was also worried about Su Xiaodi's fate after being divorced. At that time, she would be even more ashamed to see people. Now that her daughter married a good husband's family, she had something to show off in front of others. If her daughter was divorced by her husband's family, how could she raise her head? However, having children was not something that they could control at a young age. If she could give birth to a son, she would have done so long ago. If she had a son, she would not be poked at behind her back like she was now. Therefore, when Liang Jinfen heard Wu Zhenju's words, he was very angry. It was one thing to know it in one's heart, but it was another thing to be mocked by others. Liang Jinfen said angrily to Wu Zhenju, "Second sister-in-law, how can you say that?" Wu Zhenju was not a pushover either. How could he be afraid of Liang Jinfen? He sneered and replied, "What did I say? I'm just telling the truth. I'm not wrong." You. Liang Jinfen gritted his teeth in anger. He almost couldn't hold himself back from going up to Wu Zhenju. Guo Caixia also glared at Wu Zhenju with displeasure. How dare he say that her was old and that it was not appropriate to criticize her in-laws? How could he say that she was old? Don't you think I'm 17 or 18? Aren't there many girls of this age in the countryside who are married? To put it bluntly, he just couldn't bear to see her doing well. He always felt that if his daughter could marry a good husband's family, others could not. Second sister-in-law, even if my is a little older, she is still better off than your Which rich family would be willing to accept second-hand goods these days? Eldest sister-in-law, what do you mean? How is my a second-hand good? Chapter 1788. Wu Zhenju's face flushed red when he heard Guo Caixia's words. How did this wretched woman find out about this? Did she see it with her own eyes? Judging from Guo Caixia's expression, he knew that she knew about this. However, Wu Zhenju knew that his daughter and the man had indeed been intimate with each other. However, the man had made the first move and Liang Xinyue could not reject him. She was afraid that if she rejected him, the man would get angry and cancel the engagement. Moreover, the two of them were about to get married. Since the engagement was already set, it was normal for them to be intimate with each other. Who would have known that the engagement would be cancelled? Sister-in-law, what are you talking about? Don't you know that this kind of gossip will have a great impact on our yuer? Wu Zhenju reprimanded Guo Caixia unhappily. Guo Caixia was not convinced. I'm telling the truth. I'm not talking nonsense. If you have the guts to do it, why don't you tell others? With Zhao Yuner as a witness, she successfully witnessed the scene of the three women fighting over a piece of silk. Each of them was very sharp and sarcastic, saying that the other party's daughter did not have the right to wear the silk in Zhao Yuner's hands. In the end, the three women did not give in and started to fight with each other. After the fight was over, everyone was covered in wounds. Their injuries were not light. Seeing this scene, Zhao Yuner could not help but secretly feel happy. This was really interesting. Through this incident, she also witnessed the selfishness and greed of human nature. If any of the three of them were to let go, one of them would naturally be able to get the silk. However, these three people were all selfish and did not give in, afraid that the other party would benefit. Seeing that the three of them were fighting fiercely, Zhao Yuner's eldest uncle, second uncle, and Liang Jinxiao hurriedly tried to stop the fight. After a long while, they finally managed to pull the three women apart. It was undeniable that when women were angry, they were really fierce. Even the man who was trying to stop the fight accidentally got injured on his face. The three of them were bruised and swollen. When they finally separated, they were still cursing at each other. Old Madame Liang rubbed her aching forehead. She felt that the three of them were crazy. "Shut up! Shut up, all of you!" Old Madame Liang scolded unhappily. The three women acted as if they hadn't heard anything. They continued to curse and almost started fighting again. Old Madame Liang was so angry that she clutched her chest and couldn't stop muttering, "Rebel, rebel, all of you are rebelling. You can't even listen to this old woman's words. Eldest sister-in-law, second sister-in-law, second sister, stop quarreling. Mother is uncomfortable because of you." Liang Jinxiao frowned and said hurriedly. Only then did the three of them listen. Their gazes fell on old Madame Liang. Old Madame Liang snorted unhappily and said, "Look at all of you. You're fighting over a piece of silk. If this gets out, people will laugh at us. How can a family fight so fiercely?" Wu Zhenzhu could not help but complain, "Mother, isn't it because eldest sister-in-law and second sister insisted on fighting with me? If they had just given up the silk to me, how could they have made a fuss?" Liang Jinfen retorted unhappily, "Second sister-in-law, what you said is wrong. Why should eldest sister-in-law and I give up the silk to you? Who do you think you are? Why should we give in to you?" Chapter 1789. Old Madame Liang was afraid that the three of them would quarrel again, so she hurriedly said, all right, stop quarreling. I see that none of you are giving in, so it's better if none of you take it. Is it worth it to hurt your harmony over a bolt of silk?" The moment old Madame Liang said this, the three of them immediately disagreed. "Mother, that won't do. Mother, I still want to use this silk to make clothes for my Yuer. Without the silk, where can I find clothes for my Yuer to wear? Mother, my Zier also needs to wear a good pair of clothes. It's second sister-in-law who said that it's easier to find a good husband if she wears it well." Old Madame Liang snorted lightly. Just now, they were still quarreling, but now they were united in trying to persuade her. She was very clear about the thoughts of her two daughters-in-law and daughter. To put it bluntly, they liked to take advantage of others. How could they casually give up when they saw benefits that were so easy to obtain? The problem is that none of you are giving in to the other. It's better to stop quarreling. Otherwise, you'll end up fighting again. Mother, don't say any more. Old Madame Liang snorted coldly, then said to Zhao Yuner, listen to grandmother for once. Don't take out this batch of silk for them. Look at how they're fighting. I think that if they continue to fight, they'll stab each other with a knife. Zhao Yuner put on an awkward expression, Grandmother, this isn't good. I promised to take out a bolt. If I take it back, second aunt will say that I'm stingy. Old Madame Liang said with a cold face, she dares to say a word to you. Does she really think that this old woman is dead? Does her words not matter now? Zhao Yuner hesitated for a moment, then finally nodded and said hypocritically, grandmother is right. I also think that it's better not to take out this piece of silk. I originally wanted eldest aunt, second aunt, or second aunt to take it. Who knew that such a thing would happen? If I had known that they would fight, I wouldn't have gotten involved in this matter. Old Madame Liang took Zhao Yuner's hand and said earnestly, Yuner girl, this isn't your fault. The things that the emperor bestowed are very precious. It's already very rare that you were willing to take out a batch of silk and satin. It's the three of them who want to fight for it. What can you do if Dada intervenes? Zhao Yuner sighed and said, yes, Grandma. They were all relatives, and it was not worth it to fight over such a small thing. In order not to hurt our relationship, I'll take it back. Yes. Old Madame Liang nodded in response. Zhao Yuner hugged the satin and turned around to enter the room. Her eyes flashed with the pleasure of having succeeded in her scheme. She had come up with this scheme because she had expected that these people would be selfish and would not give in to each other. Actually, if these people had a bit of brains, they would have discussed it nicely and decided to sell this batch of silk and satin and divide the money among them. Everyone would get a lot of money on average. However, these people just wanted to swallow everything for themselves. In the end, they realized that all three of them were defeated and injured, and no one would get any benefits. Liang Jinfen, Wu Zhenju, and Guo Caixia were all stunned. They watched as Zhao Yuner hugged the satin and entered the room. It would probably be impossible to get Zhao Yuner to take it out again. Chapter 1790. Liang Jinfen and Guo Caixia were equally uncomfortable. Who wouldn't want such a valuable item? How could they just give it to someone else? They weren't fools. The three of them complained in their hearts. They didn't like each other at all. Zhao Yuner put the items back in the house and came out. She was in a good mood when she saw the three of them. She didn't need to rely on her high IQ to deal with these stupid women. Old Madame Liang looked at the three of them and sighed in her heart. None of them were easy to deal with. They were always causing trouble. She felt annoyed just looking at them. After the three of them rested, they complained about the pain on their bodies. Ouch, my face is all scratched up. What if it leaves a scar? Wu Zhenju touched his face and looked resentfully at Liang Jinfen and Guo Caixia. Guo Caixia quickly replied, "Sister-in-law, don't look at me like that. My fingernails aren't that long. How could they scratch your face like that?" Guo Caixia's meaning was self-evident. Wu Zhenju's face was scratched by Liang Jinfen. Wu Zhenju's resentful eyes fell on Liang Jinfen. Liang Jinfen pursed his lips unhappily and said, "How can you blame me for this? Didn't I get a lot of scars too?" As Liang Jinfen spoke, he raised his arm and showed it to Wu Zhenju. The injury on his arm was quite serious. If it wasn't treated properly, it might become inflamed. The three of them looked like they were about to start arguing again. Old Madame Liang glared at them. "Haven't you said enough? No matter how serious your injuries are, you deserve it. Who else can you blame for attacking him?" The three of them closed their mouths resentfully. They still felt uncomfortable. Wu Zhenju covered his face with his hand. His expression was desolate. He bit his lower lip and looked indignant. Liang Jinhui comforted her, all right. It won't leave a scar. Even if it does, it's fine. You're already so old, and you're already married to me. You're not a young lady anymore, and you're afraid that you won't be able to get married. Isn't it fine as long as I don't despise you?" When Wu Zhenju heard Liang Jinhui's words, he was a little unhappy. "What do you mean by it's fine even if I have a scar at my age? Don't tell me that I won't be able to meet people in the future. Are you the only one who can see it? If I go out, people will definitely laugh at me. I don't want it." Liang Jinhui couldn't understand why a woman valued beauty so much. Even though she was old, she would still care about her appearance. She wouldn't just make do with it casually. Okay. Don't be angry. You're right. Let's go back to town and get some ointment. It shouldn't leave a scar. I heard that there's a doctor in town who makes good ointment. Although it's a little expensive, the effect is good. Although Wu Zhenju was reluctant to spend money, he thought about his face. He felt that he had to buy it back no matter what. As long as it didn't leave a scar, everything else was negotiable. After this side returned to silence, Liang Xinyue followed Mu Yanfeng to the riverside. Liang Xinyue looked at Mu Yanfeng's tall back. Her heart was filled with admiration. This high-quality man looked different from the rest. He was extraordinary. Even his back was better looking than the rough men in the mountains. If she could be with such a man, how happy would it be? Mu Yanfeng didn't notice that a woman was following behind him. When they reached the riverside, she heard someone call out to her softly. Chapter 1791. Mu Yanfeng frowned and turned his head to see Liang Xinyue standing behind him. As Zhao Yuner's cousin, Liang Xinyue had been staying at Zhao Yuner's house for the past 2 days, so Mu Yanfeng naturally recognized her. Due to their relationship as relatives, Mu Yanfeng replied indifferently, "What's the matter?" Liang Xinyue shook her head and stared at Mu Yanfeng with infatuation. Mu Lianfeng frowned in disgust. Liang Xinyue's gaze made him feel very uncomfortable. If you have something to say, just say it. If there's nothing else, then forget it. Mu Lianfeng turned his head away and ignored Liang Xinyue. He wasn't a fool. How could he not see that Liang Xinyue was interested in him? However, he had no interest in Liang Xinyue at all. It wasn't just because he didn't like women like Liang Xinyue. Most importantly, he already had Zhao Yuner, so he wouldn't consider other women. No matter how outstanding other women were, he wouldn't take another look at them. This was even more true for Liang Xinyue. Liang Xinyue felt a sense of loss when she saw Mu Lianfeng's cold attitude towards her. She felt very uncomfortable. Why wasn't Master Shizi willing to take another look at her? If they were at Zhao Yuner's house, then it would be fine. After all, Zhao Yuner was there, so Mu Lianfeng couldn't be too obvious. However, now that Zhao Yuner wasn't there, couldn't Master Shizi be a little more enthusiastic? Liang Xinyue bit her lower lip and her eyes were filled with unwillingness. She continued to speak coquettishly to Mu Lianfeng, Master Shizi, how can someone of your status do such menial work? Cousin is really. She doesn't know how to care for you. If I were her, I definitely wouldn't let you do such work. After Liang Xinyue finished speaking, she looked at Mu Lianfeng affectionately. How could Mu Lianfeng not understand the meaning behind Liang Xinyue's words? Was she trying to sow discord between him and Zhao Yuner? This woman was a little interesting. However, how could he allow others to sow discord between him and Yuner? He was the one who did this work, and it wasn't Yun who asked him to do it. Whether Yun cared about him or not, he was very clear. Thus, he said unhappily to Liang Xinyue, this is my business. I'm willing to do it, and it has nothing to do with Yuner. Master Shizi. I'm just saying. You're very tired from carrying the water. Do you want me to help you? Liang Xinyue winked at Mu Lianfeng in a negotiating manner. Mu Lianfeng rejected her directly, no need. After seeing Mu Lianfeng's attitude, Liang Xinyue knew that it would not be easy for her to get close to Mu Lianfeng. She felt even more disappointed. Liang Xinyue could not understand. Shouldn't men be very fickle? As long as a woman was shameless enough to seduce him, she would definitely fall for it. However, Mu Lianfeng did not fall for it. He was indeed different from other men. Or was Mu Lianfeng too loyal to Zhao Yuner? She did not believe. What was so good about Zhao Yuner? She was not as good as her. Perhaps she was not proactive enough, so Mu Lianfeng was indifferent. Liang Xinyue's eyes darted around, and she quickly grabbed the bucket in Mu Lianfeng's hand. Seeing that Liang Xinyue was about to snatch the bucket, Mu Lianfeng quickly pushed Liang Xinyue away. He did not know what Liang Xinyue's intentions were. With Mu Lianfeng's push, Liang Xinyue sat on the ground and cried out, "Io, Io." Mu Lianfeng glanced at Liang Xinyue indifferently. He did not know what Liang Xinyue was up to. Chapter 1792. You sprained your ankle. Mu Lianfeng was suspicious and did not immediately believe Liang Xinyue's words. He had a feeling that this woman was up to something. Liang Xinyue looked at Mu Lianfeng pitifully and continued to say to Mu Lianfeng, "Sir, I really sprained my ankle. It hurts so much. Can you come over and help me?" Mu Lianfeng replied indifferently, "You asked for it. Who else can you blame?" His attitude was very clear. He did not want to talk to her. This could not go on. Mu Lianfeng did not seem like a man who could be seduced so easily. However, Liang Xinyue was not willing to give up just like that. She continued to act coquettishly. "Sir, I don't have any other choice. I'm already injured. What else can I do? Are you just going to let me sit here and do nothing? Aren't you going to help me?" Mu Lianfeng snorted softly. "After I'm done carrying the water, I'll go back and tell your family to come and pick you up." Liang Xinyue opened her mouth. Mu Lianfeng's rejection was too direct. He did not even give her a chance. After Mu Lianfeng finished speaking, his gaze shifted away from Liang Xinyue. He held the bucket in his hand and carried the water. Liang Xinyue saw that Mu Yanfeng was really going to leave her here alone. Actually, her ankle was fine. She had deliberately said that she was injured because she wanted to gain Mu Yanfeng's sympathy and get closer to Mu Yanfeng. Who knew that Mu Yanfeng would be like this? Her plan was completely ruined. Now, Mu Yanfeng was really going to leave and not care about her. He was really going to abandon her just like that. Liang Xinyue was suddenly anxious. She felt that she had to be more thick-skinned this time, so she rushed directly to Mu Yanfeng and hugged Mu Yanfeng from behind. After that, she mustered up her courage and confessed to Mu Yanfeng, "Your Highness. I quite like you. I wonder if Your Highness can give me a chance to get to know you better." Mu Yanfeng was slightly stunned. He never thought that Liang Xinyue would be so bold as to come over and hug him. This woman relied on his tolerance and became more and more unscrupulous towards him. The sense of disgust in his heart grew stronger. Even though Liang Xinyue was Zhao Yun'er's cousin, she didn't hold back this time and kicked her out. Then, a splash was heard. It was the sound of someone falling into the water. The person who had fallen into the water was Liang Xinyue, who had been blown out by Mu Yanfeng. Liang Xinyue didn't know how to swim. After falling into the water, she struggled in the water and even shouted, "Help! Help!" Mu Yanfeng subconsciously felt that Liang Xinyue must be faking it this time, so he ignored Liang Xinyue. However, Liang Xinyue continued to struggle in the water. Her entire face was ashen and she looked like she was in extreme pain. If Liang Xinyue was faking it just now, he would believe it. Cola's ashen face from choking on water didn't look like it was faked. If this went on, someone might die. Although he hated Liang Xinyue and this woman had the guts to covet him, he didn't want her to die. Mu Yanfeng pondered for a moment, then picked up a bamboo pole from the riverbank and handed it to Liang Xinyue. Then, he started to sing. Liang Xinyue said indifferently, "Catch." Liang Xinyue hurriedly grabbed the bamboo pole. Mu Yanfeng then dragged Liang Xinyue to the riverbank. Only then did Liang Xinyue get up. Chapter 1793. She felt that if she had come ashore any later, she would have choked to death in the river. It felt so good to breathe in the fresh air now. Thinking about it, Mu Yanfeng was really ruthless. He didn't show any mercy and directly kicked her into the river. He didn't have any tender feelings for the fairer sex. Cough, cough, cough. Liang Xinyue coughed heavily a few times and looked pitifully at Mu Yanfeng. She originally thought that Mu Yanfeng would look at her one more time out of guilt. However, Liang Xinyue realized that she was thinking too much. Mu Yanfeng only glanced at her indifferently and then turned to leave with the water. "Shi Ziyi." Liang Xinyue called out pitifully. Mu Yanfeng didn't respond at all and only showed his back. Was he going to leave her here alone and not care about her? How was she going to go back when she was all wet? "Shi Ziyi." Liang Xinyue's voice was louder this time. Mu Yanfeng showed his determination with his back facing her. Seeing that Mu Yanfeng really didn't want to talk to her anymore, Liang Xinyue finally gave up. After soaking her clothes in the water, Liang Xinyue's entire body was wet. Her clothes stuck to her body and a few private parts were faintly discernible. If someone saw this, they would definitely say something. At this time, Lu San happened to see Liang Xinyue sitting on the shore after falling into the water. After seeing Liang Xinyue's appearance and her faintly discernible figure, Lu San swallowed his saliva and then ran over to Liang Xinyue eagerly. "Ah, miss, did you accidentally fall into the water?" Lu San asked politely. Liang Xinyue bit her lower lip and responded with an aggrieved expression. "Ah, so pitiful. A girl like you has suffered so much." After hearing Lu San's words, Liang Xinyue felt even more wronged. Wasn't that right? How could she have known that Mu Yanfeng would be so cruel to her? She was a young lady and was weak to begin with. How could she withstand such torture? Seeing that Liang Xinyue was so wronged that she was about to cry, Lu San hurriedly comforted her. Okay, miss, don't cry. No matter what, it's all in the past now. It's okay. As long as you're fine, it doesn't matter, right? Liang Xinyue nodded in agreement. Lu San smiled and continued, Miss, do you want me to help you? Liang Xinyue thought for a moment and looked at Lu Sanchong. She was smiling so warmly, so she shouldn't be a bad person. After she had choked on the water, she felt that she couldn't muster up any strength after tossing and turning. If she had someone send her off, she would be able to go back earlier. Otherwise, she couldn't just sit here and do nothing, right? Although the weather was hot now, it was easy to catch a cold if she didn't go back and change her clothes. If she fell sick, it would be even more torturous. So she nodded. Thank you so much. Lu San hurriedly waved his hand. Oh, miss, you're too polite. I like to help others when they're in trouble. Liang Xinyue nodded and smiled at Lu San. Big brother, you're really a good person. Lu San's smile hid a hint of calculation. He was indeed a good person, but he would only be good to women, and the youngest and most beautiful women. Of course, he wouldn't tell Liang Xinyue the calculation in his heart. Chapter 1794. Lu San smiled mischievously, while Liang Xinyue responded gratefully. Well, that's why Big Brother is such a good person. Well, miss, let's not talk so much. I'll send you back quickly. Lu San urged. In fact, he couldn't wait to have fun. Liang Xinyue in front of him looked very beautiful and very young. The taste of playing with her would definitely be extraordinary. Okay. Liang Xinyue responded. Lu San supported Liang Xinyue. Although she was not used to being with other men, she had no choice but to let Lu San support her. The feeling of having a beauty in his arms was extraordinary. Lu San glanced at Liang Xinyue's delicate little face and couldn't help swallowing his saliva. Miss, you're not from our Shuelan village, are you? Lu San chatted enthusiastically. Liang Xinyue shook her head. No, I'm here to see my relatives. Lu San was delighted when he heard that. It was easier to make a move if they were not from the same village. Who are your relatives? Lu San asked casually. My cousin's name is Xiao Yun, and my uncle's name is Xiao Wenhua. Liang Xinyue replied. Hearing Xiao Yun, Lu San frowned. He was not afraid of other people in the village, but Lu San was a little afraid of Xiao Yun, After all, he had been defeated by Xiao Yun, before, so he knew that Xiao Yun, was not to be trifled with. Looking at Liang Xinyue in front of him again, Lu San was thinking about whether to make a move on Liang Xinyue. He was afraid that if he made a move on Liang Xinyue, Xiao Yun would make trouble for him again. At that time, there would be a lot of trouble. While he was thinking, he heard Liang Xinyue complaining, Hey, my cousin is powerful now, but her character is really not good. She thinks that because her family is rich, she doesn't like us poor relatives. She doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. How can such a person be so lucky? She even caught the eye of the Shitsi. Lu San listened quietly to Liang Xinyue's complaints. From Liang Xinyue's tone, he knew that Xiao Yun did not like her. Since this was the case, it was a good thing for him. If he said that he made a move on Liang Xinyue, Xiao Yun would definitely not care about this matter. He had nothing to be afraid of. At the same time, from Liang Xinyue's tone, Lu San could tell that Liang Xinyue was dissatisfied with Xiao Yun, as well as her admiration for Mu Lianfeng. He knew more about women and knew what kind of words they liked to hear. He smiled and comforted her, Miss, in fact, you look much more beautiful than Xiao Yun, The Shitsi has a problem with his taste. If I were the Shitsi, I would definitely like you and not Xiao Yun, Sure enough, after Lu San finished speaking, Liang Xinyue's heart immediately became happy. She smiled and said to Lu San, Your words are so nice. It's as if your mouth is smeared with honey. Lu San smiled embarrassedly, I'm just telling the truth. I don't mean to coax you. Liang Xinyue blinked her eyes, really? Of course it's true. Liang Xinyue said with a smile, you have a good taste. Hey, if only the Shitzi could have your taste. He would definitely not like Xiao Yun, but me. If the Shitzi could like her, she would become the Shitzi's wife in the future. Her status would be very noble, and she would be able to eat and drink well. Chapter 1795. Sigh, everyone has their own fate, and it can't be helped that our fates are different. But you don't have to worry. With your looks, you'll definitely be able to find a good husband in the future. He might not necessarily be worse than Xiao Yun, Lu San comforted her. After hearing Lu San's words, Liang Xinyue's unhappiness suddenly dissipated a lot. Yes, you're right. I think so too. Liang Xinyue responded. The two of them continued walking. After walking for a while, they still hadn't reached Xiao Yun's house. Instead, they arrived at a forest. Liang Xinyue frowned and felt that something was wrong. She remembered that there wasn't much distance between Xiao Yun's house and the river, and the scenery didn't seem right. So she asked Lu San, who was beside her, Big brother, did you lead us the wrong way? Why do I feel like something's wrong? This doesn't seem to be the way to my cousin's house, right? Lu San smiled slyly again, patted his head and said, oh, look at my memory. I remembered the wrong way. Xiao Yun's family has moved to a new house now. This is the way to the old house, so I took you the wrong way. After listening to Lu San's explanation, Liang Xinyue finally understood. She nodded and said, yes, that's good. Big brother, take me there now. Lu San responded, okay, don't worry, miss. Yes. The two of them continued walking. When they reached the depths of the forest and saw that there was no one around, Lu San couldn't wait to reach out and touch Liang Xinyue's butt. Along the way, his heart was burning. He couldn't wait to touch Liang Xinyue. However, this was not the right place. Once he touched Liang Xinyue, she might shout at the top of her lungs and run away. He had no choice but to control his temper and slowly lead Liang Xinyue into the woods. In this way, even if Liang Xinyue shouted loudly, no one would pass by. He could still manage the matter between him and Liang Xinyue. Liang Xinyue could only cry for help but to no avail. She didn't expect Liang Xinyue to be so stupid. She was tricked into going to the woods with just a few words. Feeling her but being touched, Liang Xinyue's heart suddenly tightened. At first, she thought that Lu San was careless, but then she felt that Lu San's hands became more and more presumptuous, rubbing her but non-stop. What was worse was that Lu San directly hugged her and held her in his arms. His ugly face stretched out towards her. Liang Xinyue suddenly exclaimed, you! What are you doing? Why are you touching me? Lu San smiled wretchedly, little beauty, I've helped you walk so far. You said that I'm a good person. You should at least repay me, right? Seeing how handsome you are, Big Brother's heart is itching. Just help Big Brother and let Big Brother have some fun. Liang Xinyue finally understood what Lu San wanted to do. It turned out that he had this idea. She originally thought that Lu San was a good person. Now it seemed that Lu San was a hungry wolf. He was very fierce. From the moment he saw her and helped her, it was a trap. Now she was so pitiful that she was tricked into the woods by Lu San. No one could control her. She really regretted her actions. However, there was no use in regretting it now. She was trapped in Lu San's arms and couldn't break free at all. You! Let go of me, rogue! Chapter 1796. Looking at Lu San's face that was full of pockmarks, Liang Xinyue only felt the things in her stomach churning. It was extremely disgusting. If she was defiled by such an ugly man, she would rather die. You! Let me go! Liang Xinyue screamed and struggled in Lu San's arms. However, she had fallen into the water and choked badly. She didn't have much strength. Lu San was a man. How could she break free from Lu San? Liang Xinyue cried in despair. When Lu San's face continued to come closer, she spat on Lu San's face. You disgusting man. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? You want to touch me? You're disgusting. Lu San wiped the saliva on his face, put it near his hand and smelled it. He said with a look of enjoyment, it's really fragrant. Liang Xinyue was disgusted by Lu San again. This man was a bit perverted. Lu San's heart was stirred. He couldn't wait to grab Liang Xinyue and press her on the ground. Then he began to help Liang Xinyue take off her clothes. After a while, Liang Xinyue's coat was taken off. Seeing that she couldn't get away, Liang Xinyue cried regretfully again. Go away, girl, don't struggle. No one here will come to save you. Why waste your strength? Let me have some fun. After I'm done, I'll let you go naturally. Liang Xinyue struggled a little, and Lu San continued to take off her clothes triumphantly. After taking off Liang Xinyue's pants, Lu San couldn't wait to enter her. Suddenly, a man came and scolded Lu San. What are you doing? How dare you do such a heinous thing in broad daylight? Lu San was stunned. He raised his head and glanced in the direction of the voice. Before he could react, he felt a kick land on him. Afterwards, Lu San was thrown heavily. He fell quite heavily and immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Afterwards, Lu San lay on the ground. He was unable to move at all. Lu San and Liang Xinyue, who were lying on the ground, looked at this person at the same time. This person was in his 20s and was dressed in black. He looked mighty and domineering. It was obvious that he was not someone to be trifled with. She was none other than Mo Yen. Mo Yen encountered such a situation as soon as she came down the mountain. She couldn't bear to see others do such dirty things, so she came up and sent Lu San flying with a kick. Mo Yan's face was still cold even after Lu San was dealt with. She walked up to Lu San and directly grabbed Lu San's collar. She said to Lu San coldly, let's go. I'll take you to see an official. I'll let the county magistrate chop off your hand. Lu San immediately paled in fright when he heard that he had to see an official. He begged Mo Yen, young master, please let me go. I was just lustful for a moment. I won't do it again. Mo Yen rolled her eyes as if she was thinking about Lu San's words. Lu San hurriedly swore, I really won't do it again. Young master, please believe me. If I do such a thing again in the future, I will definitely be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Mo Yen snorted coldly, I can tell from your face that you're not a good person. Since you've done something like this, you should be punished. However, you've hurt this girl. She'll decide where you'll go. Chapter 1797. At this moment, Liang Xinyue sat on the ground. The fear on her face had yet to disperse. Her clothes were in a mess. Her thighs and other private areas were exposed to the air. Mo Yen had never seen something like this before. Her face immediately reddened, and she was rather afraid to look at Liang Xinyue. He understood what it meant to look at indecent things extremely well. Liang Xinyue seemed to return to her senses. She put on her clothes in a hurry. Thinking about how if Mo Yen had not intervened earlier, she probably would have been defiled by Lu San already. Liang Xinyue struggled to imagine the consequences. Her engagement had already been annulled in the first place. This was a shameful matter in the countryside, so it was extremely difficult for her to find a good husband. Now that her body had been defiled, it was basically impossible for her to find a good husband. Fortunately, Mo Yen had saved her, which was equivalent to saving her life. Liang Xinyue looked at Mo Yen gratefully. She could tell with a single glance that Mo Yen was not a simple person, whether it was in terms of appearance or attire. He probably had a good status just like the young master, so she developed a sliver of admiration for Mo Yen. Although Mo Yen could not compare to the young master, he was still worlds apart compared to the rough men of the countryside. At the very least, he could be regarded as extraordinarily handsome. Just looking at him made people feel comfortable. Only after Liang Xinyue covered herself did Mo Yen turn around again. She said to Liang Xinyue, "Miss, this person tried to defile you, so you decide how to deal with him. What do you think we should do now?" Liang Xinyue glanced at Lu San. She ground her teeth in hatred towards Lu San. This man had almost caused her to lose her chastity. How could she let him go so easily? Just when Liang Xinyue made up her mind to report this to the authorities, Lu San looked around and persuaded her, "Miss, I was just lustful earlier. I can guarantee that I won't do it again. Please be magnanimous and let me go. If they really arrest me, it might not be a good thing for Miss. Young lady, think about it. Although I haven't really done anything to Auntie, it's inevitable that there will be a lot of gossip. When the time comes, it will affect young lady's reputation. I'm a man so it's fine, but when a lady marries in the future, I'm afraid." It had to be said that Lu San was used to using women's psychology to successfully bully many people. When Liang Xinyue heard this, she felt that what Lu San said was indeed very reasonable. If Lu San was arrested and sent to the officials, although Lu San would be punished by the officials, she would also be implicated at the same time. For her now, how could there be any more rumors? If that happened, she might not be able to get married. She could not bear the consequences. After hesitating for a while, she bit her lip and said to Mo Yen, "Young master, let's just forget about it. Although this person went a little overboard, it was fortunate that young master acted in time and didn't taint me. I'm still at a marriageable age. I don't want people to gossip about me." Mo Yen thought about it and said to Liang Xinyue, "All right then. It's still up to Miss to make the decision. If Miss thinks it's fine, then it's fine." "All right." Liang Xinyue replied weakly. She could not help but glance at Mo Yen. Seeing how handsome and righteous Mo Yen was, she admired him even more. Chapter 1798. Lu San lay on the ground like a dog. He nodded in a hurry, "Yes, yes, yes. I definitely won't do it again." "Then piss off." Mo Yen kicked Lu San's butt again. Lu San crawled forward in fright. He wanted to leave as soon as possible, afraid that Liang Xinyue and Mo Yen would go back on their words and send him to the authorities. Before Lu San left, Mo Yen suddenly said, "Wait." Lu San's heart suddenly tightened. He turned around bitterly and asked Mo Yen, "Is there anything else, young master? Don't tell anyone about this. If I find out that you spread any rumors, I'll skin you alive." Mo Yen said coldly. "Yes, yes, yes." Lu San clenched his buttocks tightly. "You can piss off now." Mo Yen urged in disgust. Liang Xinyue looked at Mo Yen rather infatuatedly as she watched Lu San flee in a hurry, completely devoid of his previous arrogance. As if she could sense Liang Xinyue's scorching gaze, Mo Yen felt uncomfortable. Clearing her throat, Mo Yen said to Liang Xinyue, "Miss, you have to be careful next time. There are many bad people in this world, so don't fall into their traps. Fortunately, I just happened to pass by today, or..." Liang Xinyue thanked her in a hurry, "Thank you for saving my life, young master. I'm unable to repay you." Mo Yen waved her hand, "I'm not asking you to thank me. I'm just giving you a reminder. Don't come to a place like this with a stranger, just in case they have thoughts about you." Liang Xinyue said in a hurry, "Yes, yes, I understand. Thank you for your reminder, young master. I definitely won't do it again." Mo Yen replied, "Since there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. Until we meet again." Liang Xinyue immediately became rather reluctant to part with Mo Yen when she saw that she was about to leave. She had finally found an opportunity to hook up with a rich husband, so how could she give it up so easily? "Young master, may I know your name? You saved me, so I should at least know who young master is, right?" Liang Xinyue asked shyly. Mo Yen originally felt that there was no need to tell her, but when she saw how eager Liang Xinyue was, she said, "Mo Yen." Liang Xinyue repeated it in her heart and felt that it was very pleasant to hear. I'm leaving, Mo Yen said again. Liang Xinyue immediately pretended to be pitiful and said, young master, I don't even know where I am right now. I'm not from this village, so I don't know the way. I wonder if young master can take me away. Mo Yen studied Liang Xinyue and only then did she understand. It was no wonder that Liang Xinyue had been tricked by Lu San. She probably did not know the way, nor did she know that Lu San was a bad person, which was why she had been brought here. Young master, can you take me away? I'm afraid I'll come across some bad people along the way. Liang Xinyue bit her lip and looked at Mo Yen pleadingly. Mo Yen thought about it. Since she had saved Liang Xinyue, leaving Liang Xinyue here really was a little unreasonable. If Liang Xinyue encountered any danger, she would feel very guilty, so she nodded and asked casually, may I ask where you're going? I'm not from this village, so I don't know the way very well. Chapter 1799. Mo Yen could not help but sigh inside when she heard Liang Xinyue say that she was Zhao Yun's cousin. It looked like she had saved the right person. He might not have known about other people's families, but he did know about Zhao Yun's family. He replied to Liang Xinyue, I know. I was just about to go. Really? Liang Xinyue blinked her eyes in some excitement. Yep. Although she was unable to guess the relationship between Mo Yen and Zhao Yun, Liang Xinyue was still extremely excited. The two of them headed towards Zhao Yun's home under Mo Yen's lead. They arrived at Zhao Yun's home before long. Wu Zhenju hurried over when he saw Liang Xinyue return soaked. He asked nervously, oh my, what happened to you? Did you fall into a ditch? Liang Xinyue glanced at Mu Yanfeng and answered pitifully. Yep. I fell into the river. I almost drowned. Wu Zhenju was so scared that her face turned pale. She patted her chest and reprimanded Liang Xinyue, I say, you wretched girl, why did you run to the river? Liang Xinyue only felt even more wronged. Wasn't she trying to get close to Mu Yanfeng? When her mother saw Mu Yanfeng and returned to the Liang family, she constantly urged her to find an opportunity to seduce Mu Yanfeng. Who would have thought that something like this would happen? She had almost lost her life. Liang Xinyue was originally rather unwilling to give up. She wanted to continue seducing Mu Yanfeng, but now that she had met Mo Yen, Liang Xinyue felt that Mo Yen was rather good. She felt that Mo Yen was not bad either. The chances of seducing Mo Yen were much higher than seducing Mu Yanfeng. She might as well change her target. Why did she have to do those impossible things? Mother, I don't want to do this either. Isn't this? Liang Xinyue looked at Mu Yanfeng and meowed a few times. Wu Zhenju immediately understood and didn't say anything more. Hence, he hurriedly said, all right. It's good that you're fine now. Look at you, you're all wet. Hurry up and change your clothes. Don't catch a cold. Liang Xinyue mumbled, Mother. I don't have any. We're not at home. Where would I get clothes to wear? Wu Zhenju urged Zhao Yun, who was at the side. Yun'er, go find a change of clothes for Yu'er. Although Zhao Yun was rather displeased with the way Wu Zhenju spoke to her, she knew that Liang Xinyue would catch a cold if she didn't change into clean clothes when she saw how wet she was. If she didn't even lend her clothes, she would seem too stingy. Zhao Yun nodded in response. She glanced at the clothes hanging on the bamboo pole to dry. She had changed out of them after bathing yesterday. The weather today was very hot, and the clothes would be dry after a few hours outside in the sun. Zhao Yun walked over and touched them. They were indeed dry. Zhao Yun took them off the pole and then walked over to Wu Zhenju and Liang Xinyue with the clothes. She handed them to them. Here, these are the clothes. Cousin Yu'er, go change in the room. Wu Zhenju's face immediately sank when he saw the clothes in Zhao Yun's hands. Yun'er, why did you bring clothes like this for Yu'er to wear? Chapter 1800. Wu Zhenju muttered, Yun'er girl, you gave Zi'er a nice set of clothes. Why did you give Yuer such coarse clothes to change into? They're both your cousins, so you can't be biased. You have to give Yuer a nice set of clothes to change into, right? Zhao Yun'er's mouth twitched. She thought that Wu Zhenju was scheming something, but it turned out that he was thinking about this. Sure enough, she couldn't understand his weird brain circuits. Could it be that she was easy to negotiate with and easy to bully? Was that why these people came to provoke them again and again? You think the clothes are too shabby. I have to give you a set of expensive clothes. Of course. Yuner girl, Yuer and Zier are all your cousins. As their cousin, you can't be too biased. Let's not talk about expensive clothes, you can't give me these coarse clothes. Wu Zhenju's tone was still full of dissatisfaction. Zhao Yuner came forward and snatched the clothes from Wu Zhenju's hands. Then she glanced at Wu Qingzhu unhappily and said coldly, you don't have to wear it if you don't want to. I'm too lazy to lend it to you. After Zhao Yuner snorted coldly, she turned around and went into the house with the clothes. She didn't even look up. Wu Zhenju was stunned. He didn't expect Zhao Yuner to do this. This. Yuner girl, what do you mean by this? You didn't give Yuer a change of clothes. What if she catches a cold? Wu Zhenju shouted anxiously at Zhao Yuner's back. However, Zhao Yun did not pay attention to her at all and walked straight ahead. Wu Zhenju was petrified for a moment. So, she suffered a double loss. She didn't have any good clothes, so Zhao Yuner didn't even lend them coarse clothes. After being unlucky in front of Zhao Yuner, Wu Zhenju's eyes fell on Liang Jinxiao. He complained to Liang Jinxiao, eldest sister, look. Why is your Yuner girl like this? I'll be honest, she has this kind of attitude. Liang Jinxiao was very tired. He didn't understand why his second sister-in-law liked to cause trouble and say these things. Zhao Yuner didn't have a good impression of the Liang family. Now, she hated the Liang family even more. Now, old Madame Liang was a sensible person, so she reprimanded Wu Zhenju, second daughter-in-law, it's already good that Yun-er is willing to lend her clothes. You're still being picky, how can she be happy? You're in the wrong. Mother, it's Yuner girl who is biased. Look at the clothes she lent to Zier girl, and look at the clothes she lent to Mayu girl. It's like heaven and earth, okay? That's also her business. She can borrow whatever clothes she wants. Why are you thinking about other people's things? Don't take everything for granted. Old Madame Liang's eyes sharpened. She couldn't stand Wu Zhenju's unreasonable behavior. Why didn't the Liang family have any sensible people? They didn't want to help Zhao Yuner's family. Instead, they made trouble. The more they acted like this, the more Zhao Yuner disliked them. How could she still like the Liang family? Wu Zhenju shut up. Looking at Liang Xinyue's wet clothes, he couldn't do anything. She had to change her clothes. Chapter 1801. I originally wanted to get you clothes that were as pretty as Zier's. Who knew? Wu Zhenju replied embarrassedly. He looked at Liang Xinyue's dissatisfied expression. Mother, you really don't say what you should say and say what you shouldn't. Look at what's happening now. Liang Xinyue did not hide her complaints at all. Liang Jinxiao sighed slightly as she watched from the side. She felt that this really could not go on, so she said to Liang Xinyue and Wu Zhenju, I still have some clean clothes. If you, doesn't mind, why don't you take my clothes and wear them? Liang Jinxiao's figure was a little different from Liang Xinyue's. Liang Jinxiao's clothes would definitely be too big for Liang Xinyue. However, they could only make do with the current situation. If they were too particular, Liang Xinyue would only catch a cold. Liang Xinyue thought about it and nodded, all right then. Auntie, bring me your clothes and make do with them. All right. Liang Jinxiao replied with a smile before entering the room. Zhao Yun came out of the room again with a sunken face. She really could not be nice to these people. Liang Xinyue changed into Liang Jinxiao's clothes and came out. She looked at her own clothes and felt that they were really ugly. The pudding clothes were loosely wrapped around her body, making her look even more dusty. Her original elegance had been reduced by a few points. Now that she stood next to Liang Xinyue and compared herself, Liang Xinyue felt that she was not even as pretty as Liang Xinyue. She even felt rather embarrassed to face Mo Yen in the courtyard. Ever since Mo Yen had entered the courtyard with her, Liang Xinyue could not help but pay attention to Mo Yen. She had never thought that Mo Yen would actually know the young master and would even approach him. The two of them whispered to each other, but she did not know what they were talking about. Wu Zhenju noticed Liang Xinyue's strange behavior. Thinking about how Liang Xinyue had returned with Mo Yen, he prodded Liang Xinyue and whispered into Liang Xinyue's ear, "I say, you, who is this young master? He didn't look like a simple character. Just now, mother saw the two of you coming back together. Do you know him?" Liang Xinyue quickly shook her head. "Mother, I don't know her. I only saw her today." Wu Zhenju replied resentfully. He then stared at Mo Yen and became rather interested in her. When Mo Yen and Mu Lianfeng finished talking and Mo Yen sat down to drink some water, Wu Zhenju eagerly made his way over to Mo Yen and began to chat with her enthusiastically. Mo Yen saw that Wu Zhenju was a relative of Zhao Yun, hers, so she was too embarrassed to ignore him. "Young master, you look quite handsome. You must be someone important, right?" Mo Yan's lips twitched as she smiled awkwardly. "You must be joking. I'm just an ordinary person. How can I be someone important?" At most, she was just a servant for Mu Lianfeng. She really did feel diffident from Wu Zhenju's words. Wu Zhenju did not believe Mo Yan's words. Instead, he said, "Young master, you really are too modest. Since you're related to the young master, you must be someone important." Mo Yan frowned slightly. How could he say that? However, in the eyes of the villagers, he did seem to possess quite a good status. At the very least, he had an official position, similar to a constable. Chapter 1802. Mo Yan was very curious. Why was Wu Zhenju asking her this? Wasn't it a little too gossipy? It was like he was investigating her. Mo Yan thought about Wu Zhenju's eager expression before replying honestly to Wu Zhenju, "No, auntie. I'm still single." Wu Zhenju immediately smiled uncontrollably when he heard Mo Yan's reply. "Oh my, that's fantastic." Mo Yan was speechless. What was so fantastic about it? He did not think there was anything fantastic about it. He was already so old. Men around his age already had quite a few children, yet he did not even have a wife. This was not his fault. He was so busy every day that he did not have the time to worry about matters of the heart. However, he did not want to find a random woman either. That would only waste his time and the time of others. Wu Zhenju forced himself to calm down when he saw Mo Yan's dumbfounded expression. He was afraid that his reaction would frighten Mo Yan. After wiping away her smile with great difficulty, Wu Zhenju made her way over to Mo Yan and asked, "Young master, it's not right for you to not have a family at your age. You can't waste too much time." Mo Yan nodded politely in response. Who knew how many people he had heard that say before? However, wives did not just fall from the sky. How could they just come and go like that? Wu Zhenju's smile contained a sliver of calculation. He thought that the heavens really had given him this opportunity. Mo Yan was such a great man, yet he was still single. As a result, he giggled and pulled Liang Xinyue over to Mo Yan. He said to Mo Yan, "Young master, what do you think of my daughter?" Mo Yan raised her head and glanced at Liang Xinyue. She said honestly, "She's pretty. She's quite delicate." Wu Zhenju slapped his thigh and giggled, "Haha, young master, you have good taste. Yue grew up in our village and is one of the best girls in the village." After being praised by Wu Zhenju, Liang Xinyue lowered her head in embarrassment and pulled the corner of Wu Zhenju's clothes shyly. "Mother, don't talk nonsense in front of others. How can you praise your own family members like that?" Wu Zhenju did not take it to heart and said shamelessly, "What's the big deal? Mother is speaking the truth, not nonsense." "Mother." Liang Xinyue blushed and no longer dared to look at Mo Yen. However, Liang Xinyue still rejoiced when she heard Mo Yen say that he had never taken a wife and was still single. As long as Mo Yen was single, she would have this opportunity. The heavens had arranged for her to meet Mo Yen and for Mo Yen to step forward and save her when she was in danger. There had to be a reason. Perhaps she and Mo Yen were fated to be a match made in heaven. The more Liang Xinyue thought about it, the sweeter she felt in her heart. She had more expectations in her heart. Seeing how Liang Xinyue had become shy, Wu Zhenju did not continue teasing Liang Xinyue. Instead, he turned to Mo Yen and said with a smile, "Young master, since you're not married and Yue is not married either, I think the two of you are a perfect match. May I ask if young master would like to consider my Yue?" Mo Yen was drinking water when Wu Zhenju said that. She almost choked and spat the water onto Wu Zhenju's face. Wu Zhenju was stunned for a moment. Only after a while did he realize that he had been spat on. Chapter 1803. Wu Zhenju could only wipe his face with his sleeve as he continued to smile at Mo Yen. Mo Yen coughed violently. She wondered what Wu Zhenju was trying to do by asking so many questions so enthusiastically. As it turned out, she wanted to introduce her daughter to him. Was it because he was just too handsome and charming, so his mother-in-law had taken the initiative to come to him? Cough, 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 cough. Liang Xinyue's face became bright red from Wu Zhenju's words. She had never thought that Wu Zhenju would ask something like that. She was just too shy. "Mother, why, how can you ask something like that?" Liang Xinyue lowered her head as if she was criticizing Wu Zhenju. Her voice was so low that it was obvious that she was shy. Wu Zhenju remained unconcerned. "I'm just asking. Can't I just ask? It's all for your own good. You can tell with a single glance that this young master is a good man. It's your fortune to be able to marry him. If we don't ask, we definitely won't have a chance. If we ask, what if we have a chance in the future? Don't you think so?" Liang Xinyue bit her lip and acted bashful. She was only saying it, but she was tempted to ask Mo Yen as well. She would be more than happy to be with Mo Yen. She only hoped that Mo Yen would give her an answer now, even though asking this question was a little hasty. Mo Yen became even more dumbfounded by this pair of mother and daughter. He and Liang Xinyue had only met each other today, so he didn't know her at all. How was he supposed to answer a question like that right now? He did not have any feelings for Liang Xinyue. He treated Liang Xinyue the same as any other woman. Marriage was not child's play. If he had just made do with it casually, he would not still be single at this age. Mo Yen thought about it before telling Wu Zhenju the truth. "Auntie, I'm not familiar with you, so we don't know each other very well. As a result, I don't have any romantic feelings for you, I have to be careful with my marriage, so I don't want to make do with it casually. Moreover, this matter is decided by my parents. I don't have the final say on who I'm getting married to. I need my parents' approval as well." Mo Yen had spoken extremely tactfully, but anyone who was not an idiot could tell that he was directly rejecting you, Wu Zhenju suddenly felt a sense of loss in her heart. Such a man with such good conditions was probably out of her league. She could understand. After all, Mo Yen was quite pretty and came from a decent family. How could she fall for a country girl? If Mo Yen really did go back and discuss this matter with her parents, they would be even less likely to accept you, Wu Zhenju understood, but Liang Xinyue was unable to accept it. Liang Xinyue bit her lip. She felt wronged. Originally, she thought that Mo Yen would have some feelings for her after saving her, but she had never thought that Mo Yen would reject her so directly. It seemed like he really did not like her at all. If he really did like her, he would not be like this. He would definitely say something like, "I'll think about it." Thinking about how Mu Yanfeng did not like her and rejected her, she could accept it. Now, even Mo Yen was like this. Was she really that bad? Was there not a single outstanding man who was interested in her? The more she thought about it, the more miserable she felt. Liang Xinyue lowered her head and almost cried. Mo Yen saw that something was wrong with Liang Xinyue's reaction, so she asked in a hurry, "Miss, what's wrong? Did I say something wrong?" Chapter 1804. Wu Zhenju's face immediately darkened like the bottom of a pot after Liang Jinfen finished speaking. What did you say? Sister-in-law, I said that you're a toad lusting after a swan. Why don't you take a look at what your Yuer is like? You're shameless enough to try to get close to her. You're even shameless enough to say something like that. You're clearly throwing your daughter to an outsider. Not many people would do something like that. TSK. Liang Jinfen did not hide the mockery in his voice at all, causing Wu Zhenju to flush red in embarrassment. She was already so old, so she understood everything. How could she not know what Liang Jinfen was implying? Ha, second sister, you don't have to be so direct. But you don't have to make a fuss. Your second sister-in-law has done this kind of thing many times. It's not a rare thing, Guo Caixia said with a smile. She was the same as Liang Jinfen. She felt that Wu Zhenju was a toad lusting after a swan. Originally, she was worried that Mo Yen would be foolish enough to agree to Wu Zhenju and Liang Xinyue's relationship, allowing Wu Zhenju and her mother to take advantage of it. Only when she heard Mo Yan's refusal did Guo Caixia become relieved. Wu Zhenju said with a red face, "How am I a toad lusting after a swan? He's unmarried, so why can't I ask? That depends on the situation. It's clearly impossible. Isn't that just wishful thinking?" Seeing that they had quarreled again, Zhao Yun said coldly, "If you want to quarrel, then get out of my house. You're so annoying." The three women only calmed down when they saw Zhao Yun's ugly expression. They were afraid that Zhao Yun would really get angry and chase them out. It was still very hot right now. If they went back at this time, they would get heatstroke. Mo Yen saw the displeasure on Zhao Yun's face. Thinking about how this matter seemed to have arisen because of her, she became rather worried that Zhao Yun would blame her for this, right? "Aunts, please don't hurt your friendship because of me. I'm not saying this because of Miss Yuer's identity. If two people really like each other, I don't care about their identities. It's just marriage. It's not child's play. I've only met Yuer today, so how can I have feelings for her?" Mo Yen explained after a moment of hesitation. The meaning of his words was that the reason he rejected Liang Xinyue was not because he despised Liang Xinyue for being a country bumpkin and not worthy of him. It was purely because he had no feelings for her and did not like her. After Liang Xinyue heard this, the rims of her eyes became even redder. She felt as if a stone had been smashed into her heart, causing her to be unable to breathe. If Mo Yen despised her identity, she might have felt better. However, when she thought about how Mo Yen did not have any feelings for her, Liang Xinyue felt even more despair. She was quite pretty after all, so why did so many outstanding men not have any feelings for her? Just what did she lack? Even someone of Zhao Yun's status could gain the favor of the young master, so why couldn't she do the same with her status? The more Liang Xinyue thought about it, the more depressed she felt. Coupled with the mockery from Liang Jinfen and Guo Caixia earlier, she felt ashamed. "Mother, I told you to stop spouting nonsense. All you know is to spout nonsense. Do you only feel happy when young Master Mo says something like that?" Liang Xinyue complained to Wu Zhenju. She wiped away the tears from the corner of her eyes and glanced at Mo Yen before directly running out. Yuer. Wu Zhenju called out in a hurry. He was rather worried, afraid that something would happen to Liang Xinyue. Chapter 1805. Wu Zhenju sighed. He felt that Liang Jinqiao was right, so he could only leave Liang Xinyue alone to calm down. How could she not feel terrible that she had missed out on such a good husband? Mo Yen rubbed her forehead and felt a sense of guilt. It seemed like he had caused quite a lot of trouble. Should he not have appeared? If she had known earlier, she would not have left the mountain. Zhao Yun seemed to see through what Mo Yen was thinking. She walked up to Mo Yen and patted her shoulder. Don't pay attention to them. Mo Yen smiled awkwardly. Miss Yun, aren't they your relatives? Zhao Yun snorted gently. So what if they're my relatives? I don't even like them, so why are you being so attentive? Mo Yen fell silent. She felt that Zhao Yun did make sense. Zhao Yun did not seem to have a good impression of these relatives. She probably could not be bothered with them. If that was the case, there was no need for her to deal with them carefully. After sitting for a while, Zhao Yun realized that none of the family members had any intentions of leaving. She ignored them and went to rest in her room. After a busy day, he was very tired. Especially after lunch, he was very sleepy. After Mu Lianfeng finished fetching water, Liang Jinxiao and Li Chuiying busied themselves with washing the dishes. The others stayed in Zhao Yun's house to rest, chatting from time to time. Mu Lianfeng walked into the room and saw Zhao Yun sleeping on the bed. Her forehead was covered in a thin layer of sweat, so he walked up to Zhao Yun. He took out a small fan and gently fanned Zhao Yun. The afternoon was extremely hot, especially now. The treetops outside did not move at all. There was no breeze at all. Although the room was cooler than outside, it was still very hot. If it weren't for the fact that she was too tired, Zhao Yun probably wouldn't have been able to fall asleep. Feeling a gust of cold wind, Zhao Yun suddenly woke up in a daze and looked at Mu Lianfeng. Yun, did I wake you up? Mu Lianfeng said gently with a hint of guilt in his voice. Zhao Yun shook her head. No, I feel cool all of a sudden. It turns out that you helped me fan. Mu Lianfeng's lips curled into a doting smile. It's too hot. You'll feel uncomfortable sleeping. I'll fan you. You'll feel better. Zhao Yun replied, all right, then I'll go back to sleep. Yes. With the accompaniment of the cool breeze, Zhao Yun slept a lot more comfortably. She slept for 2 hours. The Qin family did not go back. It was not because they disliked the hot weather and wanted to wait for the sun to set before going back. It was because they saw Zhao Yun's big house and felt too comfortable. They simply could not bear to go back. The 10 or so brick house looked very imposing. The feeling of staying inside was too different from staying in a thatched hut. After the banquet, the Qin family members walked around Zhao Yun's house. They did not hide the envy in their eyes. Mu Chunfang sighed softly in Qin Dahai's ear. Ai, Yuaner's father. Look, the family Qin's house is really big and imposing. I'm afraid it won't be able to be built without tens or hundreds of taels of silver. Qin Dahai nodded and replied, that's right. This house indeed costs tens or hundreds of taels of silver. Chapter 1806. Qin Dahai pursed his lips and said, forget it. Don't even talk about such a big house. It's already good enough to have half of it. We definitely won't be able to save up that much money for now. Mu Chunfang nodded. Based on their current rate of earning money, who knew how long it would take to build such a big house? Their family Qin's life was much better than before, but compared to the truly wealthy, they were still far from it. A house cost a few dozen taels. How could they take out that much money so casually? Mu Chunfang sighed in Qin Dahai's ear, sigh, if you ask me, this family Qin really isn't very nice. We're already so close, but they don't even help us out when they're rich. What's the point of having so much money in their hands? It's not like they can finish spending it in the countryside. Qin Dahai replied, you can't say that. They have no reason to help us. If they help us, it's out of friendship. If they don't help us, it's their duty. Look at how brothers don't give money to each other when they're rich. Mu Chunfang naturally understood this logic. However, the more he looked at Zhao Yun's house, the more he felt that the difference between the two families was too obvious. He felt a little jealous. Mother, my stomach hurts. I want to poop. Qin Chuan held his stomach and shouted loudly in the living room. With this shout, the Liang family's gazes fell on Qin Chuan. They looked at the family Qin with disdain and disdain. Mu Chuanfang's face turned red in embarrassment. He naturally knew that Qin Chuan was in someone else's house, and in front of so many people, it was not appropriate for him to say such things. Hence, he walked in front of Qin Chuan and glared at him, "If you want to poop, just do it. Why are you shouting so loudly? Come to mother and say it softly. Won't mother hear it then?" Qin Chuan pursed his lips and replied unhappily, "But mother, I'm like this at home. At home is at home. There are so many people here. Aren't you ashamed?" Boo-hoo. Qin Chuan felt wronged. He didn't understand why Mu Chunfang was suddenly so fierce. "Mother. I can't hold it in anymore." Qin Chuan tugged at Mu Chunfang's clothes and muttered. As he spoke, Qin Chuan probably really let out a loud fart because of the stomachache. It caused a huge commotion in the hall. When the Qin family members heard Qin Chuan's fart, they were shocked by this sudden fart. After a while, the hall was filled with the stench of farts. When everyone smelled the smell, they almost couldn't stand it and vomited. Thus, they all covered their noses and disliked the family Qin even more. "It stinks, it stinks," Wu Zhenju muttered. He glared at the family Qin people as if he wanted to cut them into pieces. He did not give the family Qin people any face. Mu Chuanfang's face turned even redder. He replied to Wu Zhenju with some embarrassment, "I'm so sorry. My Chuan is a little abnormal here." As Mu Chunfang spoke, he pointed at his head, indicating that there was something wrong with Qin Chuan's intelligence. If there was something wrong with one's intelligence, most people should be more tolerant. They couldn't be calculative with a fool. Chapter 1807. Mu Chuanfang's expression turned even uglier. She knew that Qin Chuan's fart had a bad influence, but wasn't this a situation that she had not expected? If she had known that Qin Chuan would fart like this, she would have brought him somewhere else to avoid being despised here. "Sister, I'm sorry. It's my Chuan's fault. I'll bring him away now." Mu Chunfang gritted her teeth and apologized. She did not want to blow up the matter. There were so many people in the Liang family. How could their family fight? Qin Dahai's face was also full of embarrassment. However, he had seen many such looks of disdain and disdain. Who asked his son to have a mental problem? A fool like him would be despised wherever he went. After a long time, he had gotten used to it and felt that it was nothing. Seeing Qin Chuan's ignorant and aggrieved expression, Qin Dahai's heart ached. "Yuan's mother, bring Chuan away," Qin Dahai urged. Mu Chunfang responded, "Okay, Yuan's father." As she spoke, Mu Chunfang held Qin Chuan's hand and said to Qin Yuan, "Let's go. Mother will take you to poop." Only then did Qin Chuan cheer and walk out of the house. He could not hold on any longer. If he was any later, he might have pooped in his pants. After the Qin couple brought Qin Chuan out of the hall, Wu Zhenju continued to grumble in disdain, "What kind of people are they? Seriously. I can tell that the whole family isn't a good thing." Liang Jinfen snorted and agreed, "They're poor. They're used to being poor and have not seen much of the world. Their whole family is poor. Did you see just now? That family ate a lot. Once the dishes were served, they couldn't wait to eat them. We didn't even eat much. Especially that old woman. She stuffed all the good food into that fool's bowl. He ate so much in one go. Now that his stomach is hurting, I think it's retribution." Wu Zhenju nodded in agreement. "You're right. I don't usually eat anything good, but I stuffed myself with so much today. How can I digest it? Naturally, there will be problems." Liang Jinfen said with disdain in his eyes, "I don't know if big sister is blind to have such in-laws. If my family Qin was like them, we would have kicked them out long ago." Guo Zixia sighed. "What can we do? Look at Ping. It's good enough that someone is willing to take her in. How can they be picky? Sister-in-law, what you said makes sense. It's all because that Ping girl is too ugly. Otherwise, who would be willing to marry such a family Qin? Sigh, let's not talk about it anymore. It's fine as long as it's not ours. We're only together today. We don't have to be together on normal days. Once in a few hundred years. This family is going to see each other every day. It's disgusting. Wu Zhenju frowned, his face full of displeasure. When he said this, he did not think about his own behavior at all. Mu Chunfang brought Qin Chuan out of the house. Before they reached the toilet, Qin Chuan could not hold it in anymore. He took off his pants halfway and started to poop. When Mu Chunfang saw this, he was stunned. Chuan, why don't you poop in the toilet? It's broad daylight. Wouldn't it be bad if someone saw you? Mu Chunfang frowned and muttered. He looked at Qin Chuan's big white butt and blushed. Chapter 1808. It was fine if other men saw Qin Chuan's big white butt, but if a woman saw it, something would probably happen. As Mu Chunfang spoke, he looked around. Fortunately, Zhao Yun's house was on the mountain, and there was no one around. No one could see them now. Qin Chuan looked at Mu Chunfang pitifully. Mother, I couldn't hold it in. Sob, 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 I didn't do it on purpose. Mu Chunfang comforted him. All right. It's fine if you can't hold it in. Just poop here. Mu Chunfang sighed and said to Qin Dahai, Yuan's father, the two of us have to guard here. Don't let anyone see us, or else we'll be mocked again. Got it. Qin Dahai nodded. Qin Chuan was a grown man, so they naturally had to guard him. Otherwise, wouldn't it be awkward if someone saw them? Qin Chuan held his stomach as he pooped. Mother, it hurts so much. It still hurts. Mu Chunfang frowned, a hint of worry in his eyes. What's going on? Why does his stomach still hurt? I think he probably ate too much today and got a stomachache. There's too much oil in this family Qin banquet. Why don't we eat oil normally? It's easy to spoil things if we eat too much oil all of a sudden. Qin Dahai explained. Mu Chunfang nodded. I see. Then it's normal for Chuan, to have a stomachache. Yeah. Chuan, continue to poop. Just poop more. Mu Chunfang comforted him again. Qin Chuan squatted on the ground, gritted his teeth, and pooped for a while. Finally, he called out to Mu Chunfang, Mother, I'm done. Come over and help me wipe my butt. Fortunately, no one was around at the moment. Otherwise, Mu Chunfang felt that she would lose face again. Mu Chunfang touched his pocket and said, I didn't bring any toilet paper. Yuan's father, did you bring any? Qin Dahai shook his head and said, You didn't bring any. How would I bring any? Then why don't we go and get some from our in-laws? Qin Dahai frowned and replied, I think it's better to forget about it. If you go over now, you'll be despised again. Mu Chunfang nodded. Chuan's father, you're right. Ping's uncles and aunts don't look like good people. Their words are so harsh. That's right. That's why you shouldn't bother with these things. Otherwise, you'll be despised by others. Mu Chunfang nodded and looked around. It was summer, and the surroundings were filled with thick leaves. She walked over to Qin Chuan and wiped his butt with a few leaves. She must have hurt Qin Chuan. Qin Chuan grumbled, Mother, be gentle, be gentle. It hurts so much. This thing hurts my butt. Mu Chunfang grumbled, All right, just make do with it. What else can you do? Only the tree leaves can wipe your ass. You can't not wipe it, right? Qin Chuan responded with an aggrieved expression. After Qin Chuan was done, Wu Zhenju's stomach also started to hurt. She also ate a lot for lunch today. Now, her stomach was hurting just like Qin Chuan. I can't take it anymore. My stomach hurts too. I need to go to the toilet. He's probably still in the toilet. Wait a moment. Liang Jinhui nagged. Wu Zhenju gritted her teeth and responded. She couldn't possibly squeeze with Qin Chuan now, right? Chapter 1809. After venting, Wu Zhenju's entire body felt much more comfortable, and her body also relaxed. Wu Zhenju heaved a sigh of relief. After he was done, he got up from the latrine, fastened his pants, and walked out of the latrine. As he walked, Wu Zhenju suddenly felt that something was wrong. He seemed to have stepped on something sticky. It would have been better if he didn't look, but when he did, he was almost disgusted. Because what he saw when he lowered his head was none other than a disgusting pile of poop. The poop was still wet. It was obvious that he had just pooped not long ago. Wu Zhenju clutched his chest and almost vomited. He hurriedly rubbed his feet on the grass a few times, and only stopped when it was almost clean. He couldn't help but curse, what kind of person is this? Who is so disgusting to poop here? Why didn't he use the latrine when there was a latrine? Did he purposely let someone step on it? After he was done cursing, Wu Zhenju's eyes darted around. He thought that no one would do such a disgusting thing. Normal people would definitely go to the latrine, except for abnormal people. He suddenly realized that Qin Chuan, that idiot, had just pooped. It seemed like it could only be him. At the thought of this, Wu Zhenju felt like he couldn't vent his anger. She already disliked the family Qin people, and now that they had made her feel disgusted, she couldn't wait to teach them a lesson. Wu Zhenju couldn't suppress the anger in his heart. He angrily ran towards Xiao Yun's house. The moment he saw Qin Chuan, he went up to him and spat at him. When the family Qin people saw this situation, they couldn't remain calm. They had already tolerated the Liang family enough, but they couldn't bully them to this extent, right? What are you doing? Mu Chunfang only asked coldly. He didn't have a good attitude towards Wu Zhenju either. Qin Dahai went up to Wu Zhenju and complained, Sister, what are you doing? I'm just fine. How did I offend you? Wu Zhenju continued to spit and scolded like a shrew. What have you done? Could it be that he was still unclear in his heart? Do I have to mention it? Qin Dahai's face darkened. What have we done? Why don't you just tell me? It's not like you've killed or set a fire. Is there a need to be so rash? Wu Zhenju put his hands on his waist, pointed at the family Qin, and scolded, Your whole family is shameless, always doing shameful things. Don't use a fool as a shield. Could it be that a fool doesn't know how to poop in a latrine? I really had to hand it to him. He just found a random place to poop and settled it. How can you be so vulgar? Hearing Wu Zhenju's scolding, the family Qin members immediately understood what Wu Zhenju was referring to, and their faces turned red. Although Mu Chunfang was a little embarrassed, he still said stubbornly, So what? Our Chuan didn't do it on purpose. He couldn't hold it in halfway, so he pooped. This matter doesn't affect you, so why are you so angry at us? Qin Dahai agreed. That's right. This is our matter. What right do you have to tell us what to do? Isn't it a little too much to treat us like this? Wu Zhenju's face darkened as he said to Mu Chunfang and Qin Dahai, It's indeed none of my business where you poop, but you should choose a better place to poop, right? If you poop on the way to the latrine, won't people step on it if they don't pay attention? Aren't you afraid of disgusting people to death? Chapter 1810. The Qin couple looked down and saw that Wu Zhenju's feet were indeed stained with some feces. There was still some feces on his feet that had not been wiped clean. They immediately blushed with guilt. Wu Zhenju did not let them off and continued to scold, What kind of family are you? You're not presentable, yet you still dare to come out and embarrass yourselves. Qin Dahai was embarrassed. Even so, he could not say that about their family, right? What right did Qin Chuan have to scold their entire family for what he did? Mu Chunfang was originally holding back, but when he saw that Wu Zhenju's scolding was getting more and more vicious, he gritted his teeth in anger and scolded back, Our Chuan did not do it on purpose. Who asked you to be careless? What a waste of your eyes. I think you're more like blind. Wu Zhenju was so angry that his body trembled. Who are you calling blind? Who else could I be scolding? Of course it's you. Mu Chunfang also spat on the ground. Alright, who do you think you are? How dare you scold me? See if I don't come over and teach you a lesson. Wu Zhenju rolled up his sleeves and looked like he was about to fight. Mu Chunfang was also angry and retorted indignantly. Alright, come on. Whoever admits defeat first today is a beast. The commotion caused by the two families woke up Zhao Yun, who was sleeping in the room. Zhao Yun, rubbed her sleepy eyes. She felt much better after sleeping for 2 hours, but her head was still groggy. Zhao Yun, frowned when she heard the commotion. Every one of them was troublesome. She was afraid that they wanted to cause a ruckus in her house. Yun, do you want to sleep for a while more? Mu Lianfeng whispered into Zhao Yun's ear. Zhao Yun shook her head. There's so much noise outside. How can I sleep? Mu Lianfeng sighed slightly. He had a headache dealing with Zhao Yun's extreme relatives. Thinking of what Liang Xinyue had done to him today, Mu Lianfeng still felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He did not intend to tell Zhao Yun about this matter. He was afraid that it would make Zhao Yun unhappy. As long as he knew in his heart that he could not have any thoughts about other women, no one could replace Zhao Yun in his heart. It's better if we don't interact with these relatives in the future. Mu Lianfeng muttered. Zhao Yun nodded. If she could walk less, she naturally didn't want to have any contact with these weirdos. Zhao Yun tidied up and walked out of the house. When she saw Wu Zhenju and the family Qin people fighting, Zhao Yun raised the cup on the table and smashed it at the feet of Wu Zhenju and the Qin couple. Then, she warned them in a cold voice. All of you, get out of here. Don't forget that this is my house. Wu Zhenju and the Qin couple were shocked. They subconsciously jumped away when the cup fell to the ground. Wu Zhenju patted her chest in shock. If she hadn't jumped in time just now, the cup would have smashed directly on her body. They looked at Zhao Yun in fear. Zhao Yun's eyes were cold. Before they could speak, Zhao Yun repeated, "It's getting late. The banquet is over, and the sun is setting. I think you should go back." This was a direct gesture to chase them away. Zhao Yun thought that the house would be quieter after these people left. Chapter 18:11. The Qin couple pursed their lips. That Yun, Ping, and Yuan haven't come back yet. We have to wait for her to come back before we go back together. Zhao Yun replied angrily, "That's your business. You can go out and wait. My house can't accommodate these big Buddhas." Her attitude was very obvious. There was no room for discussion. They had to leave now. The Qin couple looked at each other. They originally wanted to talk to Zhao Yun nicely. Zhao Yun shouldn't be too difficult. Now, seeing Zhao Yun's attitude, they knew that Zhao Yun wouldn't agree no matter what they said. The Liang family was even more embarrassed. Liang Jinshun stood up and said, Okay. It's almost time. Let's go back." With Liang Jinshun's words, the others followed suit. It was indeed not early. Even if they didn't want to go back, they couldn't stay at Zhao Yun's house for long. There was no point in wasting time. They couldn't stay at Zhao Yun's house for the night. That, husband, about mother. Guo Caixia pointed at old Madame Liang. They had discussed before and arranged for old Madame Yang to stay at Zhao Yun's house for a period of time. Liang Jinshun glanced at old Madame Yang and then discussed with Zhao Yun, can your grandmother stay at your house for a period of time? It's very hot in our thatched hut. At night, the mosquitoes are very noisy. Your grandmother can't sleep well every night. She can't lift her spirits. She said that she felt much better after sleeping at your house last night. So we, as her children, think that if your grandmother stays at your house for a period of time, her health may be much better. When summer is over, we will take your grandmother back. She won't stay here forever. Zhao Yun heard Liang Jinshuan's words and glanced at old Madame Liang. Old Madame Liang lowered her head and looked a little lonely. How could she not know that her uncles and aunts only felt that her grandmother was a burden? Now, they wanted to abandon her family as much as possible. Zhao Yun'er thought for a while. If old Madame Liang was a troublemaker, she naturally wouldn't stay. But after meeting her several times, she felt that old Madame Liang was an amiable old lady. She was good to her. After thinking for a moment, Zhao Yun'er agreed, all right then, Grandma will stay at my house for a while. Wu Zhenju and Guo Caixia both heaved a sigh of relief, as if they had just gotten rid of a burden. These people's reactions naturally fell into Zhao Yun'er's eyes. Zhao Yun'er secretly sighed. They were all unfilial people. Their parents worked hard to raise them, but when they were old, they didn't know how to treat them well. Old Madame Liang looked at Zhao Yun'er with a touch of guilt in her eyes. After all, she might disturb Zhao Yun'er's family in the coming days. Zhao Yun'er didn't think much of it. One more person was just one more mouth to feed. There were so many people at home who could help with the trivial matters on a daily basis. Liang Jinshan smiled and said, that's good. Yun'er girl, then we'll go back first. Okay. Seeing that the weirdo was about to leave, the cold light in Zhao Yun'er's eyes receded. Seeing that the Liang family was about to leave, the family Qin people suddenly became anxious. They wanted to delay and not leave, but when the others left, they didn't have the intention to stay. Chapter 1812. The Qin couple's face revealed a trace of embarrassment. They smiled embarrassedly and said, Little Yun-er, just let us wait a little longer. Although the sun is setting outside, it's still very hot. Also, it's easy for our legs to hurt if we stand up. We're already so old, how can we withstand the torment? Zhao Yun'er replied without any trace of politeness, what does that have to do with me? The Qin couple did not expect Zhao Yun'er to be so direct and rude. She was even a little vulgar. Seeing that Zhao Yun'er's expression was not good and her words were unpleasant, Mu Chunfang silently scolded Zhao Yun'er a few times in his heart. In any case, we're in-laws. You can't be so ruthless. It's really bad luck to have to deal with this kind of person. Mu Chunfang could not help but mutter. Qin Dahai hurriedly poked Mu Chunfang's arm, indicating that Mu Chunfang should stop talking. It would not be good if Zhao Yun'er heard it. However, Zhao Yun'er could not be bothered with these people. Instead, she said lightly, I'll count to 3. If you don't leave, then don't blame me for being rude. The Qin couple did not seem to care about Zhao Yun'er's threat. They wanted to continue staying and not leave. Zhao Yun'er directly called out to Little Hay outside. Little Hay, come here. Little Hay was originally lying under the shade of a tree. The weather was very hot and he was covered in fur. He felt even more uncomfortable than a human. He stuck out his tongue and kept sticking it out. When he heard Zhao Yun'er's call, Little Hay quivered. He immediately got up from the ground and ran into the house. At first, the Qin couple did not know why Zhao Yun'er called a dog into the house. When Little Hay came in, the Qin couple finally understood what Zhao Yun'er was planning to do. She was afraid that they would continue to stay and not leave, so she let the dog chase them away. Little Hay, I'll leave these people to you. Xiao Hay understood what Zhao Yun meant. It bared its fangs and barked at the Qin couple. It looked like it was going to pounce on them and bite them. The Qin couple was shocked, while Qin Chuan was so scared that he hid behind them and almost cried. If this continued, their family would be bitten by dogs. Hence, the Qin couple pulled Qin Chuan along and ran out of Zhao Yun'er's house. Seeing them slip away so quickly, Zhao Yun'er's lips curled into a mocking smile. She really refused a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Previously, he had spoken nicely and ignored her, but now she had to escape in such a sorry state. Perhaps some people were masochistic in nature. After the Liang family and the rest of the family left, the hall of Zhao Yun'er's house became empty, and the house became much quieter. Outside the house, Liang Jinyu had already helped Zhao Yuner prepare the bowls and chopsticks. The kitchen was also tidied up. Now that the sun had set and the family Qin people had gone back, Liang Jinyu bid farewell to Zhao Yuner's family. "Mother, big sister, it's getting late. I'll go back too." "Wait, auntie." Zhao Yuner called out to Liang Jinyu. "Yuner, what's wrong?" "Auntie, there are a lot of leftovers from my family's banquet. Take some back." Liang Jinyu hurriedly waved her hand. "Yuner, I can't. Chapter 18:13. Liang Jinxiao chimed in, "Little sister, Yun-er is right. You should at least bring some back for brother-in-law and the children to try." Liang Jinyu frowned and seemed to be in a dilemma. For so many years, she was not used to taking advantage of others, so she generally did not accept gifts from relatives. Zhao Yun knew Liang Jinyu's temperament and said, "Little aunt, actually, if you don't take it, my family won't be able to finish it. In this weather, leftovers can't be kept for long and will easily go bad." After listening to Zhao Yun's words, Liang Jinyu thought for a moment. Just now, when she helped Zhao Yun clean up the house, she saw that there were indeed a lot of leftovers in the kitchen. Zhao Yun's family did not have many people. Even if she gave some to other relatives, it would probably take 2 or 3 days to finish it. In this weather, how could leftovers be kept for 2 or 3 days? After one night, they would probably go bad. If she refused to accept it, then wouldn't the leftovers in Zhao Yun's house go to waste? Liang Jinyu thought for a moment and finally nodded. "Okay, Yun-er, make some for me." "Okay." Zhao Yun's mouth curved into a satisfied smile. Fortunately, Liang Jinyu was enlightened, so she did not have to waste her words to persuade her. After entering the kitchen, Zhao Yun picked some more meat. She knew that people in the countryside generally like to eat meat, so she could make those vegetarian dishes at home. Now that Liang Jinyu's family planted a lot of land and did a lot of work, children and adults should eat more meat. With enough oil, they would be able to work hard. However, Liang Jinyu was really poor. It was good enough that the family could eat enough. They could only eat meat during festivals. When Zhao Yun came out with a big bag of meat, Liang Jinyu could not help but sigh. "Yun you've made too much, right?" "Not much. I still have a lot left at home. It's a waste if we can't finish it." "Auntie, if you bring more back, you'll definitely be able to finish it." Zhao Yuner was right. Liang Jinyu had a lot of children. She could probably finish a few bowls of meat by herself. There was no reason for her to not be able to finish it. Liang Jinyu smiled embarrassedly. "All right then, Yuner girl, I won't be polite with you. Then I'll accept it." Yeah. Liang Jinyu did not stay any longer and hurried back to the village. There was still a long way to go between the two villages. If they went back too late, Liang Jinyu would probably have to wait until the sky turned dark. On the other hand, Li Chuiying also got up and prepared to go back. Zhao Yuner thought that besides her and Liang Jinxiao, Li Chuiying had done the most work and was the most tired. There were so many leftovers at home. Zhao Yuner also packed some food for Li Chuiying so that Li Chuiying could take it back, so that Li Chuiying would not have to go through the trouble of preparing dinner. At first, Li Chuiying refused like Liang Jinyu, but after being persuaded by Zhao Yuner, he obediently accepted the leftovers from Zhao Yuner. Now, Li Chuiying knew how to be grateful. After accepting Zhao Yuner's things, he thought that in the future, when Zhao Yuner's family had work to do, he should come over to help. He could not take advantage of her. Zhao Yuner rested for a while, and dusk gradually fell. Today's excitement passed very quickly. The big house was not as lively as it was during the day, but she could have a good sleep at night. Chapter 18:14. For dinner, Zhao Yun's family heated up some leftovers and made do with it. Zhao Yuner put the leftovers in the simple fridge. With ice cubes, the leftovers naturally wouldn't spoil easily. She could take them out when she wanted to eat them later. After dinner, Zhao Yun boiled a large pot of hot water and prepared to take a good bath. Although the weather was very hot, a hot bath would still make the body feel much more comfortable. After boiling the water, Mu Yanfeng helped Zhao Yun carry the water into the room. Yun, let me help you bathe? Mu Yanfeng asked, his eyes flashing with a hint of calculation. Zhao Yun's face suddenly turned red, thinking that she was hallucinating. Did Mu Yanfeng say that? You're helping me bathe? Zhao Yun asked weakly, confirming that it wasn't Mu Yanfeng who said that. That's right. Mu Yanfeng nodded. Zhao Yun swallowed her saliva, her ears turning even redder. Mu Yanfeng explained, Yun you're very tired today. Take a bath later, and I'll help you massage. Your tiredness will definitely subside, and you won't be so tired anymore. Zhao Yun hesitated and said embarrassedly, There's no need. Then wouldn't I be seen naked by you? She felt very shy just thinking about it. When she and Mu Yanfeng did that kind of thing, they always did it at night, when it was so dark that they couldn't see each other's bodies clearly. If she were to be seen naked by Mu Yanfeng, just thinking about it would make her blush and her heart beat faster. Mu Yanfeng's eyebrows were raised, and there was a hint of mockery in his eyes. He moved closer to Zhao Yun'er and gently blew into her ear. Yun'er, which part of your body haven't I seen before? Zhao Yun'er did not expect Mu Yanfeng to become so lecherous and shameless. Her face turned even redder. She had never imagined what Mu Yanfeng would look like when he turned into a hooligan. Now, she finally saw it for herself. He was supposed to be a cold and aloof Prince Charming. Why didn't he work in front of her? When Mu Yanfeng saw Zhao Yun'er's shyness, he continued to smile and said, Yun'er, now that we are husband and wife, we will officially become husband and wife after the wedding. You don't have to be shy in front of me, right? Zhao Yun'er was so embarrassed that she did not want to talk to Mu Yanfeng. A pervert was a pervert. Why would he talk about such nonsense? Originally, Zhao Yun'er wanted to refuse, but Mu Yanfeng did not give her a chance to escape. He stayed in the room and did not leave. Zhao Yun'er could only glare at Mu Yanfeng. Under Mu Yanfeng's scorching gaze, she slowly unbuttoned her clothes. Fortunately, there was only one candle in the room, so the light was not very bright. After changing her clothes, Zhao Yun'er quickly got into the wooden tub and began to soak in it. Her hiding place was just right to be covered by the water. This way, she would not be so shy in front of Mu Yanfeng. Mu Yanfeng walked to the side of the wooden tub and took a towel to help Zhao Yun'er wipe her body. Zhao Yun'er was embarrassed at first, but then she found that Mu Yanfeng was helping her wash. She did not need to do anything and felt quite comfortable. Leaning against the edge of the wooden tub, Zhao Yun'er closed her eyes and lay down with a look of enjoyment. As Mu Yanfeng washed, he helped Zhao Yun'er rub her shoulders and back. His technique was very skillful. It seemed that he had done this many times. Mu Yanfeng's hands moved forward mischievously and grabbed the two soft lumps in front of Zhao Yun'er. Chapter 18:15. However, Mu Yanfeng had no intention of stopping and continued to move his hands. Zhao Yun'er felt that Mu Yanfeng was really going overboard this time. She didn't say anything, but he still didn't withdraw his hands. Pervert, what a big pervert. Zhao Yun'er cursed in her heart. On the surface, he looked well-dressed, but on the inside, he was worse than a beast. What happened to being a proper man? Where did he go now? Zhao Yun'er blushed and said to Mu Yanfeng, You, shameless. Let go of me. However, Mu Yanfeng murmured softly, Yun'er, this thing is so comfortable. It's so soft to the touch. It feels so good. Zhao Yun'er, damn it, how could it not be comfortable? Two soft lumps of flesh, of course it would feel good to the touch. However, under normal circumstances, who would let someone else touch them? Even if it was between husband and wife, they would feel embarrassed, pervert. Zhao Yun'er couldn't help but complain. However, Mu Yanfeng smiled and said shamelessly, Yun'er, I'm only perverted to you. You're the only one I'm perverted to. So she had to be grateful to him. How shameless. Zhao Yun tried to struggle and escape from Mu Lianfeng's claws. However, to Zhao Yun's disappointment, Mu Lianfeng's claws followed her like a shadow and grabbed her 2 lumps. He even murmured softly in her ear, Yun, don't move. Let me continue to massage. More massages will help you grow. Zhao Yun, how could this guy find such a high-sounding reason for everything he did? So he was saying that she was too small. You. When did you become so shameless? Zhao Yun scolded angrily. However, Mu Lianfeng didn't get angry. Instead, he smiled and said, so what if I'm shameless to my own wife? She was actually speechless. However, after Mu Lianfeng massaged her for a while, he continued to help her bathe and massage other parts of her body. Zhao Yun's body felt much more comfortable. However, after helping Zhao Yun bathe, Mu Lianfeng became restless. Facing the naked Zhao Yun a certain desire in his heart. Mu Lianfeng's throat moved, and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva into his stomach. He moved closer to Zhao Yun's ear and whispered, Yun, I want you. After soaking in the hot water for so long, Zhao Yun's body was already hot enough. When Mu Lianfeng said this, Zhao Yun felt her face become a little hotter. You. What nonsense are you talking about? Zhao Yun said somewhat angrily. She felt really shy and embarrassed. However, Mu Lianfeng scooped Zhao Yun up from the wooden tub. He took a towel from the side and wiped the water droplets on Zhao Yun's body. Then, he carried Zhao Yun to the bed. Zhao Yun closed her eyes. She didn't dare to face Mu Lianfeng. Did this guy really want to eat her up? Stop fooling around. Zhao Yun muttered softly. But Yun, what should I do if it needs to vent? Mu Lianfeng said to Zhao Yun with a smile that was not a smile. Zhao Yun naturally knew what Mu Lianfeng was referring to by it. You solve it yourself. Zhao Yun replied weakly. It said that it misses you. Mu Lianfeng said softly. She was clearly the pervert, but now he said that. Men were indeed the same. The more serious they looked, the more terrifying they were when they were beasts. Chapter 18:16. No. Zhao Yun refused without hesitation. Mu Lianfeng asked in confusion. Zhao Yun blushed and replied, I don't have any contraceptives at home. What if something went wrong and she accidentally got pregnant? Now that she was in the stage of making a fortune, having a child would be a burden. Besides, she already had Daodu, so she wasn't in such a hurry to have a child. In addition, she had just adopted Tian Tian. Although Tian Tian was in a tiger's den, she believed that she would be able to rescue Tian Tian one day. Tian Tian was still so young. If she had another child, it wouldn't be good for the child. Even if she had another child, she would have to wait for a few years. It would be easier to take care of the 2 children when they were older. Mu Lianfeng's eyes revealed a trace of disappointment. Yun, we're about to get married. Can't we have another child? Seeing Mu Lianfeng's disappointment, Zhao Yun, couldn't bear it. Then, she explained to Mu Lianfeng. After Mu Lianfeng heard it, although he was a little disappointed, he respected Zhao Yun, very much. The originally valiant and high-spirited thing was still firm. Mu Lianfeng fell asleep on Zhao Yun's side and hugged Zhao Yun from behind. Zhao Yun felt a hard object pushing against her from behind. She didn't even have to think about it. It was Mu Lianfeng's thing. Through Mu Lianfeng's pants, Zhao Yun still felt a burning sensation. That thing seemed to be eager to enter her body. Mu Lianfeng hugged Zhao Yun and whispered in Zhao Yun's ear, Yun, look, it's a little out of control. If you don't help, it might stay like this tonight. It's too uncomfortable. After living in the 21st century for 20 to 30 years, Zhao Yun had a lot of knowledge and education in this area. She knew that it was indeed uncomfortable for a man's thing to stay firm. She was afraid that something would happen after one night. How can I help? Zhao Yun asked weakly. She couldn't do it. What other good way was there to let Mu Yanfeng vent? In the next second, Zhao Yun regretted asking this question. Mu Yanfeng said, "Why don't you kiss it?" Naturally, Zhao Yun knew that it wasn't a simple kiss. She wanted to help Mu Yanfeng. For a moment, Zhao Yun's face turned red. Why didn't she see it? Mu. This fellow was really too perverted. Zhao Yun was curious. Could it be that the ancient people were different from what she thought? You, wishful thinking. Zhao Yun replied shyly. She would rather have sex with Mu Yanfeng than do such a thing. At least she could close her eyes when doing it. But Mu Yanfeng's so-called kiss. Zhao Yun couldn't stand it. Mu Yanfeng had the nerve to say it. She didn't know when this guy had become like this. Or, men were actually very perverted. It was just that different people pretended to be different. How about using your hands? Mu Yanfeng continued to bargain with Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun still shook her head. Using her hands wasn't good. Thinking about Mu Yanfeng's thick thing, she didn't dare to touch it. But Yun, if you don't help, I'm afraid I won't be able to sleep tonight. It's too torturous. Sigh, if something happens to it, what will happen to your happiness in the future? Mu Yanfeng muttered. Chapter 1817. Zhao Yun pondered for a while. If Mu Yanfeng wasn't uncomfortable, he probably wouldn't have said these words. She and Mu Yanfeng were together. There were too few opportunities for Mu Yanfeng to eat meat. This man had held it in countless times. If he continued to hold it in for a long time, what if he couldn't get it one day? Her happiness for the rest of her life would indeed be affected. Zhao Yun pondered for a while. Should she help Mu Yanfeng? She couldn't let her man hold it in. Why don't we? Zhao Yun thought about it. Why don't we indulge once? It shouldn't be so easy to cause a mishap, right? After all, it wasn't so easy to get pregnant. She seemed to be in the safe period, so the chances of getting pregnant were relatively low. Mu Yanfeng listened to Zhao Yun's words, and his heart moved slightly. Yun, is it really okay? If I get pregnant? I shouldn't get pregnant. Let's not be too indulgent. Zhao Yun replied weakly. With Zhao Yun's words, Mu Yanfeng couldn't hold it in anymore. He couldn't wait to turn over and suddenly fell on Zhao Yun. Some kind of object was pressed against Zhao Yun's abdomen, making Zhao Yun very nervous. She and Mu Yanfeng had done this too few times, so she was still very shy now. Mu Yanfeng knew that Zhao Yun was embarrassed, so he had been in a dominant position and reached out to help Zhao Yun lead. Zhao Yun trembled where Mu Yanfeng touched, but she slowly felt it. She felt that she couldn't wait for Mu Yanfeng to get to the point. Mu Yanfeng wasn't in a hurry. He patiently adjusted Zhao Yun's state. The two people's bodies were tightly pressed together, like two intertwined flames, intertwining with each other, and then gradually blending into each other. The moment Mu Yanfeng entered Zhao Yun's body, the two of them seemed to have been relieved, and a sense of pleasure spread throughout their bodies. Gradually, the two of them seemed to have reached the clouds, and their bodies relaxed. It had to be said that tasting it occasionally was a very good feeling. No wonder the ancients said, food and sex are human nature. This was originally a human instinct. Doing this kind of thing was also necessary for human reproduction, but they could still get pleasure from it. As long as they didn't indulge, it was still a very good thing. The two of them were sweating profusely as they lay on the bed. After Mu Yanfeng caught his breath, he took a towel and helped Zhao Yun wipe her body. Then he took his own back and returned to the clean bed. Mu Yanfeng hugged Zhao Yun from behind. After doing this kind of thing, he felt that he and Zhao Yun seemed to be more intimate. Yun, can we do it a few more times tonight? Zhao Yun choked on Mu Yanfeng's words. A pervert was indeed a pervert. He didn't know how to control himself at all. It was fine if he did it once, but he actually wanted to do it again. He was too shameless. No. Zhao Yun refused without hesitation. Yun, why? Weren't the two of us very happy just now? Zhao Yun didn't know how to respond for a moment. Happiness was happiness, but there was no need to do it all the time, right? Couldn't he understand her shyness as a woman? Mu Yanfeng saw that Zhao Yun didn't speak, so he had to give up on this idea. Chapter 18:18. If he could do this with Zhao Yun for the rest of his life, he would be willing. It seemed that their bodies had been relaxed to the extreme. The two of them lay on the bed and soon fell into a deep sleep. What the two of them didn't know was that when they were doing this, they were accidentally seen by someone. This person was Liang Xinzi. Liang Xinzi originally wanted to take a bath, so she came to find Zhao Yun to borrow a towel. She didn't expect that when she arrived at Zhao Yun's door, she saw that Zhao Yun's door was tightly shut. She planned to knock on the door, but then she heard a sound coming from the room. When she went closer to listen, she found that the bed in the room was making a creaking sound. The sound was very loud. It should be that someone was messing around on the bed, which was why there was such a sound. At the same time, the creaking sound of the bed was accompanied by a woman's cry. Liang Xinzi was also a big girl, so she more or less understood this kind of thing. That was someone doing something shameful in the room. She had seen her parents like this before at night, but she was still very shy about this kind of thing. This was Zhao Yun's room. Without thinking, it was Zhao Yun and Mu Yanfeng who were doing this kind of thing. Although she knew that Zhao Yun and Mu Yanfeng were together, she didn't expect that the two of them would develop so quickly. They even did this kind of thing. Listening to the sounds inside, Zhao Yun seemed to be enjoying it very much. Liang Xinzi's face became even redder, but she was a bit envious that Zhao Yun could be happy under the lap of a handsome man like Mu Yanfeng. If it was her, she would definitely be willing. Liang Xinzi was shy, but she was also very curious. What kind of scene was it? Her parents did it at night, so she couldn't see clearly and was too embarrassed to look. But for Zhao Yun and Mu Yanfeng, because they were similar in age, she felt that it wouldn't matter if she looked. In the end, Liang Xinzi couldn't resist the curiosity in her heart and looked inside through the crack in Zhao Yun's door. The scene in front of her eyes was of two people who had taken off their clothes and were entangled together. The scene was quite hot and exciting. If it weren't for the fact that the candle was still burning, she wouldn't have been able to see the scene inside. Mu Yanfeng seemed to have good stamina. He worked very hard. Contrasting with his extraordinarily handsome face, he appeared extremely charming and had an indescribable handsomeness. On the other hand, Zhao Yun'er closed her eyes, not daring to look at Mu Yanfeng. She suddenly felt a little envious of Zhao Yun'er. She thought that if the person under Mu Yanfeng was not Zhao Yun'er, but her instead, how good would that be? It did not seem like it was going to stop. It would have been better if she did not look, but the moment she looked, Liang Xinzi suddenly felt that a certain part of her body was a little empty. She wanted to find something to fill it up. It was a pity that she was not married yet and did not have a husband. Even if she wanted to do that kind of thing, there was still a man who could help her. Liang Xinzi bit her lower lip. While she was deep in thought, Liang Jinxiao stood not far away and said to Liang Xinzi, what are you doing? Liang Xinzi's face instantly turned red. She hurriedly ran away from Zhao Yun'er's room and went to Liang Jinxiao. She smiled embarrassedly and said, "Eldest aunt, I want to take a bath, but I don't have a towel. Can you get me one?" Liang Jinxiao smiled and replied, "Of course, I can. I'll go get it for you now." After Liang Jinxiao entered the room, she came out with a dry towel and handed it to Liang Xinzi. Liang Xinzi hurriedly thanked her, "Thank you, eldest aunt." Chapter 18:19. Okay, big aunt, you too. You should rest early too. I know, Girl. After the two of them finished speaking, they returned to their rooms. After returning, Liang Xinzi still seemed to be absent-minded. She was still thinking about the scene she had accidentally seen. At her age, she couldn't help but become more curious about that kind of thing. She didn't know what it felt like for two people who loved each other to do that kind of thing. Perhaps it was very beautiful. Otherwise, her cousin wouldn't have enjoyed it so much. She was so lost in thought that when Liang Xinzi was holding the basin of water, she accidentally spilled the water on the ground. Clang, a loud sound rang out, giving Liang Xinzi a big fright. Only then did Liang Xinzi come back to her senses. Liang Xinzi patted her chest and quickly shook her head to get rid of the messy thoughts in her head. Then, she picked up the wooden basin on the ground and went to get another basin of water. The next day, after Zhao Yun's family finished the banquet, there wasn't much to do. After eating dinner early in the morning, Zhao Yun prepared to send Liang Xinzi back. It wasn't that she was stingy and didn't want her relative to stay at her house, but she felt that it was strange. After all, an outsider was still an outsider. She couldn't integrate into her family. In addition, Zhao Yun felt that Liang Xinzi was a bit strange. Although compared to Liang Xinyue, Liang Xinzi was much better, at least she wasn't as strange. However, when they were eating early in the morning, Liang Xinzi would glance at her and Mu Lianfeng from time to time, as if there was something on her face. Zhao Yun wasn't used to being stared at. For a moment, she wondered if there was something on her face. She then thought about how her cousin seemed to be interested in Mu Lianfeng. If she let Liang Xinzi stay at her house for too long, she was afraid that something might happen. Since she had time, she might as well send Liang Xinzi back. Seeing that Zhao Yun wanted to send her away, Liang Xinzi felt a bit disappointed. Although she wanted to stay, she was too embarrassed to say it. She was just an outsider, and there was no reason for her to stay at her relative's house. It was already good enough that she could stay for 2 nights. Cousin, I'll take off my clothes and return them to you, but I might not have time to wash them. Liang Xinzi looked apologetically at Zhao Yun. As she spoke, she walked to the clothes pole and took her dried clothes from it. No need. Zhao Yun hurriedly stopped him. What's wrong, cousin? Liang Xinzi looked at Zhao Yun in confusion. You don't have to take it off. I'll give it to you. Zhao Yun said indifferently. Liang Xinzi was slightly stunned, as if she couldn't believe it. She confirmed with Zhao Yun, cousin, are you really giving this set of clothes to me? Zhao Yun nodded. Liang Xinzi was a bit happy, but she still suppressed the excitement in her heart. She continued to say to Zhao Yun, cousin, this set of clothes is very beautiful and expensive. Are you really giving it to me? For the people in the countryside, this set of clothes was very expensive. Zhao Yun had spent 1 tael of silver to buy it. The people in the countryside didn't even have enough to eat, so which family would have the extra money to buy such expensive clothes? Basically, they would spend 100 copper coins to buy a normal piece of cloth and then go back home to cut it. Like Zhao Yun's clothes, under normal circumstances, only the young misses of the rich families in town would be willing to buy them. Chapter 1820. Most importantly, with this set of clothes, she and Liang Xinyue would not lose out to Liang Xinyue when they stood together. Otherwise, if the two sisters walked out, the first person people would notice would be Liang Xinyue and praise Liang Xinyue for being prettier than her. This made her feel very uncomfortable. How could Zhao Yun not understand Liang Xinzi's heart? Anyone would be excited to get a set of clothes for free. Especially girls, their love for beauty was even stronger. Zhao Yun pulled the corner of her mouth and smiled. What, could it be that I would lie to you? After receiving Zhao Yun's confirmation, Liang Xinzi's face smiled like a flower. She quickly said, cousin, you're so good to me. I'm afraid that even my own sister would not treat me like this. If everyone was like you, cousin Yun, that would be great. Who didn't like to hear nice words? As long as Liang Xinzi knew how to be grateful, it was fine. This was not the attitude of Wu Zhenju's family. Actually, she was not generously giving the clothes to Liang Xinzi, but she did not like to use things that had been used by others. Liang Xinzi had already worn the clothes she lent to Liang Xinzi, so she was not willing to touch them again. She was afraid that if she kept them, she would not wear them again. Since she was wasting them at home, she might as well give them to Liang Xinzi and gain a favor. You're welcome. It's good that you like them. After all, I've worn them before. Why would I be afraid that you would think too much? Zhao Yun said. Liang Xinzi quickly waved her hand and said, Cousin, what are you saying? Even if they were worn before, they are still valuable. Zhao Yun only smiled and did not continue speaking. After eating dinner and cleaning up, Zhao Yun drove the ox cart and set off. The Liang family and Zhao Yun's family were separated by a few villages. If they walked back, it would be quite tiring. Liang Xinzi's foot was injured, so it was even more impossible for her to walk back. In her memory, Zhao Yun had only been to the Liang family a few times. Before she transmigrated, the Zhao family was very poor, and her uncles and aunts were very powerful. Naturally, they didn't like her family. Liang Jinqiao and Zhao Wenhua were tactful people. They had never been there except during the New Year or other festivals. Even when they went there, they rarely brought their children with them. They were afraid that they would cause trouble for the Liang family. The last time Zhao Yuner went there was about 7 or 8 years ago. Her Xiao Mao helped me get up very quickly, and in a short while, I arrived at the Liang family's village. The Liang family's village was similar to the Shui Lan village. They were both poor villages. The Liang family could be considered as a wealthy family in the village. The Liang family's ancestors had a pretty good life and had quite a few fields. Although this generation had declined a bit, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Their lives were still pretty good. In addition, her 2 uncles were bricklayers. Usually, they would work for others and earn some money. The Liang family might not be rich, but at least they didn't have to starve. Before they arrived at the Liang family, the villagers saw Liang Xinzi as soon as they entered the village. At the same time, they were curious about Zhao Yun, who was driving the ox cart. A few girls around the same age as Liang Xinzi saw that Liang Xinzi was wearing a pretty silk dress. They couldn't help but feel a trace of jealousy in their hearts. They said sourly, Liang Xinzi, where did you go to be so rich that you came back with such good luck? Liang Xinzi had a smile on her face as she said, I went to my aunt's house. Yesterday, I was drinking wine at her house. Chapter 1821. Isn't that obvious? No matter how rich their family is, they wouldn't be willing to buy such clothes. Liang Xinzi, I heard that your eldest aunt's family is very rich. Your family is really lucky to be able to climb up to rich relatives. It's a pity that my family doesn't have any. If I could wear such beautiful clothes, I would definitely be very beautiful. Clothes make the man, Buddha makes the gold. Who wouldn't look beautiful wearing these clothes? When Zhao Yun heard these little girls talking one after another, the corner of her mouth couldn't help but twitch. It really was as the saying goes, 3 women make a play. Places with women were troublesome. With these girls blocking her way, Zhao Yun was a little impatient. Liang Xinzi was a little embarrassed by what they said, as if she had taken advantage of them. These girls were obviously jealous of her, and each of their words was more unpleasant than the last. However, she couldn't do anything about it and could only let them speak. At this time, Liang Xinyue had just returned from a stroll by the river. Early in the morning, she had gone out with her village companions to get some fresh air. Her hands were stepping on some wild flowers. Liang Xinyue's good friend, Liang Chuihua, tugged at Liang Xinyue and said, You, look, aren't you your cousin? Liang Xinyue nodded, that's right. Liang Chuihua's eyes revealed a trace of envy, and she continued to speak to Liang Xinyue, You, don't tell me that your cousin looks a lot better after changing her clothes. Where did she get these clothes? Your family couldn't have only bought clothes for her, but you didn't, right? Liang Xinyue lazily glanced at Liang Xinzi and snorted disdainfully, that was bought for her. I just borrowed it from my cousin. Borrowed it from your cousin? That's right, the one driving the donkey cart. Liang Xinzi pointed at Zhao Yun. Liang Zuihua stared at Zhao Yuner. Seeing that Zhao Yuner was wearing coarse clothes, she couldn't help but be curious. Is there something wrong with your cousin's head? Why would she wear such tattered clothes and lend such nice clothes to your cousin? It would have been better if Liang Zuihua hadn't said anything, but the moment she did, Liang Xinyue got a little angry. She snorted and replied to Liang Zuihua, who knows what she's thinking? Then there must be something wrong with her head. Liang Zuihua looked at Zhao Yuner sympathetically. As the two of them spoke, Liang Zuihua led them over to Zhao Yuner and Liang Shizi to join in the fun. After arriving, Liang Xinyue heard the people around her talking about how beautiful Liang Shizi's clothes were. Liang Xinyue felt uncomfortable when she heard this. She stared at Liang Shizi and asked, Cousin, you really don't know how to behave. Since you're back today, why don't you take off your clothes and return them to your cousin? Could it be that you don't want to return them? Liang Xinyue said this to sow discord between Liang Shizi and Zhao Yuner so that Zhao Yuner wouldn't have a good impression of Liang Shizi. On the other hand, she wanted to show Liang Shizi's vanity in front of everyone. She didn't even know how to return the clothes she borrowed. After Liang Xinyue said this, Liang Shizi's face turned red. She weakly replied, Mimi, don't talk nonsense. It's not that I don't want to return these clothes to my cousin. My cousin gave them to me. Liang Xinyue didn't believe her. How is that possible? How could my cousin be willing to give such beautiful clothes to you? Chapter 1822. Everyone's eyes fell on Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun was really speechless, but this matter really couldn't let people misunderstand Liang Xinz, so she nodded and softly responded, yes, this dress is indeed my gift to cousin Z. Since Zhao Yun had spoken, Liang Xinyue couldn't continue to bite Liang Xinzi, but she was even more jealous. She couldn't understand why Zhao Yun would give such beautiful clothes to Liang Xinzi. It was obviously expensive, but Zhao Yun was willing to give it to her. Thinking about how Zhao Yun gave Liang Xinzi clothes but didn't give it to her, Liang Xinyue's jealousy grew. Her cousin was really biased. They were both cousins. Since she gave it to Liang Xinzi, she should at least give it to her. Of course, Liang Xinzi was just thinking about it. She couldn't count on Zhao Yun to give her clothes. Yesterday, Zhao Yun was so stingy that she refused to lend it to her. How could she give it to her? Liang Xinyue looked at Liang Xinzi's beautiful clothes and found them to be very dazzling. She could not show her jealousy on her face, so she just glanced at Liang Xinzi and said, I really have to hand it to you. You want clothes that she has already worn. You really want to take advantage of her. After Liang Xinyue finished speaking, the other girls around them were jealous of Liang Xinyue, so they followed behind Liang Xinyue and said, that's right. It's not like it's new. What others have worn is good. Isn't it because of vanity? She wants to wear nice clothes to show off in front of us. If it's new, she can show off. What's so good about this second-hand dress? If Liang Xinyue didn't say it, we wouldn't know that Liang Xinzi is wearing old clothes. She doesn't look that good. She just wants to wear nice clothes. But it's useless. She's so old. It's hard to find a good husband. These people were chattering, one sentence after another. Zhao Yun could not help but sigh that these people were really bored. Women really like to be jealous. They were very petty. Liang Shizi was a thin-skinned person. When these people said this, her face immediately turned red. Liang Shizi had originally been happy, but now, because of these people, Liang Shizi felt that the clothes she was wearing were very prickly. It was abnormally uncomfortable to wear. Zhao Yuner glanced at Liang Shizi and felt some sympathy for Liang Shizi. She opened her mouth and said, what's wrong with old clothes? Could it be that old clothes couldn't be worn? I've only worn these clothes a few times. If I didn't tell you, you wouldn't be able to tell. I don't understand. All of you are wearing patched clothes. My clothes are intact and brand new. Why are all of you criticizing me? When Zhao Yuner said this, all of them looked at Zhao Yuner. Although Zhao Yuner was speaking the truth, these people said this purely out of jealousy. Liang Shizi looked gratefully at Zhao Yuner. Her cousin was really good. She spoke up for her. It made her feel very touched. Liang Xinyue's expression did not look too good. Cousin, that's true. But cousin Z, took advantage of you. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't want it. Chapter 1823. When Zhao Yun said this, all of them looked towards Liang Xinyue, giving birth to a look of disdain towards Liang Xinyue. Liang Xinyue's face revealed a trace of embarrassment, and she stomped her feet hatefully. Her cousin liked to oppose her, didn't she? What was so good about that slut Liang Xinzi that she just had to help her? She really couldn't understand. Everyone still wanted to say something, but Zhao Yun yawned, and lazily replied, "Can I trouble you all to move aside? I still have to send someone back. I don't have that much time, I have to go back to my village to work." The people who were originally waiting for the way out unwillingly moved aside. Zhao Yun was preparing to drive the donkey away when she heard people talking behind her. "Liang Xinyue, this woman is the one who got pregnant before marriage and had an affair with a wild man?" "Yes, didn't I hear that you have a cousin who got pregnant before marriage, and gave birth to a wild child with someone? Looking at her age, it should be her, right?" The matter of Zhao Yun, getting pregnant before marriage was not only known by everyone in Shui Lan village, it had even spread to the Liang family village. Because Liang Jinxiao was a married girl in this village, whenever something ugly happened, the gossipy old women would like to bring it back to the village and spread it. Liang Xinyue snorted softly, and nodded, "Yes, it's her." "Yo, Liang Xinyue, your cousin did such a shameful thing, but you don't see her embarrassed, instead, she's rich now." "Sigh, if it was me, after doing such a shameful thing, I would definitely be too embarrassed to go out. What's the use of having money? Can money cover up the shameful things you've done? Some people are just thick-skinned, what else can they do?" Hearing these people's words, Zhao Yun, couldn't help but feel uncomfortable in her heart. There was a good saying, good things don't leave the house, but bad things spread far and wide. She was the example of bad things spreading far and wide. It seemed that she was famous in the Liang village. Who would like to hear words like having an affair with another man? Before Zhao Yuner could react, she heard Liang Xinzi speak up for the injustice, "Don't speak nonsense." "What wild man?" "Cousin Yuner is the child of Shitzi Yi and cousin Yuner. In the future, she will be Shitzi Ye's wife. If the crown prince were to hear this, he would definitely tear your mouths apart." After Liang Xinzi finished speaking, not only were these people not afraid, they laughed even harder. "Who are you trying to scare? You even had a child with the crown prince? He's the heir apparent and has a noble status. How could he be interested in such a lowly person?" "That's right. His Highness has a noble status and he's not blind. We're all country bumpkins. How can we be worthy of him?" "Liang Xinzi, can't you think before you speak? Who would believe that? How can this kind of trash be fit to be the princess consort? Then any of us can be the princess consort." When these people talked about the happy parts, they were rolling back and forth in laughter. They trampled Zhao Yuner into the mud, as if she was a lowly creature. Zhao Yuner's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. These people were really interesting. Liang Xinzi angrily glared at these people and said unhappily, "I'm not speaking nonsense. My cousin is indeed going to be together with Shitzi Yi and marry him to be the princess consort. The imperial edict was passed down that day and I saw it. If you don't believe me, you can ask my younger sister Yuer. She was also there that day." Chapter 1824. After all, Zhao Yuner had just humiliated Liang Xinyue, so there was no need for Liang Xinyue to defend Zhao Yuner and speak up for Zhao Yuner. "Yuer, tell me, is what your cousin said true? Liang Xinyue, your cousin can't be telling the truth, right? How could Lord Heir Apparent take a fancy to someone like her? How can a country bumpkin like us be worthy of Lord Heir Apparent's noble status? She doesn't even have the qualifications to be Lord Heir Apparent's concubine, let alone be Lord Heir Apparent's concubine. That's right, she doesn't even have the qualifications to be a concubine. She still wants to be Lord Heir Apparent's concubine. She's really not afraid of boasting to the heavens and making people laugh until their front teeth fall out. All of them jeered and jeered, thinking that this matter couldn't be true. Liang Xinyue's expression turned even uglier. These people didn't know, but how could she not know? After all, she was present when the imperial edict was announced. How could those gold, silver, and jewels be fake? Liang Xinyue twitched the corners of her mouth and said with an ugly expression, "What my cousin said is true." The laughter of the crowd, who were still making a ruckus, immediately stopped. What? Liang Xinyue, are you sure? That's right, how could she be Lord Heir Apparent's concubine? You're not speaking up for her, are you? The crowd couldn't believe it and raised the doubts in their hearts. The corner of Liang Xinyue's mouth twitched, and she repeated herself, I didn't say anything wrong, and I didn't speak up for her. It's just as my cousin said. His Majesty even issued an imperial edict. I was there that day and saw it. After Liang Xinyue finished speaking, the girls who were originally mocking Zhao Yuner looked as if someone had slapped them in the face. Each and every one of them blushed. But at the same time, they were extremely jealous of Zhao Yuner. She was just a country bumpkin, but she actually became Lord Heir Apparent's concubine. Even if her status was elevated because of her son, being a concubine was already not bad. How could she be the main wife with such a status? When Liang Xinzi saw that no one was speaking, she angrily warned them, so don't speak nonsense. If you continue to laugh at my cousin Yuner, you will suffer if this reaches the ears of the heir. These people were not afraid of Zhao Yuner, but they were still afraid when they heard the name, Crown Prince. In the great Zhou country, nobles couldn't be offended, otherwise there wouldn't be any good consequences. The arrogance of the people who had been laughing and making a ruckus suddenly dissipated, and they all shut their mouths. The main thing was that he didn't dare to say it out loud. If Zhao Yuner really went to complain to Shiziyi, it wouldn't be worth it for them to suffer. Zhao Yuner was too lazy to argue with these ignorant women. What she wanted to say, Liang Shizi had already said for her. There was no need for her to say anything. If she really used Mu Lianfeng's identity to say anything, it would seem like she was showing off. Now that these people had stopped, Zhao Yuner urged Xiao Mao to continue moving forward. When Zhao Yuner walked away, these people began to discuss again. They kept asking Liang Xinyue, what is going on here? How did your cousin get into Shiziye's good graces? That's right, wasn't it a child with a wild man? How did it become Shiziye's child? Did she run into dog shit luck? If she can become the princess consort, wouldn't she have a meteoric rise in the future? I don't understand. She isn't even as good looking as Yu Yuner, so why would Shiziyi like her? Chapter 1825. She replied to these people with some displeasure, how would I know why the young master would take a fancy to her? If you ask me, who should I ask? You should ask the young master about this. With that, Liang Xinyue left in a huff. She was still displeased. She was still angry about Zhao Yuner. As soon as she thought about how arrogant Zhao Yuner was in front of her and how Zhao Yuner was going to marry the young master, she felt extremely jealous. She just could not feel good. She did not want to be with the young master anymore. She only sighed at Zhao Yuner's good fortune. How could a country bumpkin like her be able to marry someone as noble as the young master? She only took a fancy to Mo Yan, but Mo Yan did not take a fancy to her. Now that she had returned from Zhao Yuner's home, she probably would not have the chance to see Mo Yan again. She would not even have the chance to develop feelings for her. Waiting for Liang Xinyue to leave in a huff, the people behind her began to discuss again. Why is Liang Xinyue's expression so ugly? She even threw a tantrum at us. Isn't that normal? Anyone would feel uncomfortable, right? I'm laughing at her cousin's smug expression. She's a villain, humph. That's true. She bullied Yuer like that. Sigh, Yuer is so pitiful. But this matter really is quite surprising. I've never heard of a girl marrying so well in the surrounding villages. Aren't they usually well matched in terms of social status? The difference between her cousin and the young master is just too great. That's right, Zhao Yun left after sending Liang Xinyue back to her parents' home. Feng Zhangxiao was extremely polite to Zhao Yun, when she saw that Zhao Yun had gone through a lot of trouble to send Liang Xinyue back. She chuckled at Zhao Yun, Yun, why don't you rest and drink some water? Let's have lunch together. I'll cook something delicious for you. It's not easy for you to send my Z home. Liang Jinshun chimed in, that's right. Yun, why don't you stay for lunch at eldest uncle's house? Although the food isn't as good as yours, we'll try our best to make it more sumptuous. Zhao Yun refused indifferently. No need. Uncle, aunt, you don't have to be so polite. I have nothing to do today. I just happen to have time to send cousin Z back. However, Liang Jinshun said with a serious face, how can that be? Yun'er, you came all the way here. You still have to save your lunch. Otherwise, this is not the way to treat a guest. Zhao Yun'er sneered in her heart. Now that her family was doing well, the Liang family wanted to curry favor with her, so they asked her to stay for dinner. Zhao Yun'er remembered that when young Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua visited her eldest uncle and second uncle's house to visit relatives, her two uncles weren't so enthusiastic to ask them to stay for dinner. Zhao Yun'er didn't want to have much to do with these snobbish people, so she flatly refused again. Eldest uncle, aunt, you don't have to trouble yourself. It's still early. I'll be anxious waiting here. Why don't I go back?